Ladies and gentlemen, pros and noobs, it is time to begin the International. It is the biggest and the 7th installment of the International, where Dota fans, Dota players, and Dota noobs, myself included, I'm going to be your host, Machine, here for the group stage, and I'm just thoroughly excited to be picking the brains of some Dota professionals. This is going to be a whirlwind adventure. The group stages are structured a little different this time. We'll be talking all through it, but first, I think it is time for introductions. First up, we have the Dota Gym Daddy, an all-round professional bodybuilder in the making. It is Will. It is Blitz. Dude, a bit of a surprise addition to the sofa, but how are you doing?
Last second. My thinly veiled attempts at getting here, at making content, have paid off.
I mean, yeah, so, of course, for those that are unaware, normally at the coaching duties of Planet Odd, currently, of course, not present at TI, so we get to have your butt on the sofa.
Lucky me and you lucky.
Lucky us, yeah, absolutely, dude. But how did that work? That must have been a last-minute phone call. Just like, what, 30 minutes?
It was like literally last night. I was just told, like, get here, and I was like,
Get
all
to
right.
Seattle. Now, someone that had a bit more of a chance is, of course, Quincy, none other than the cool, calm, and collected analyst on the sofa. Dude, great to have you here. I know Reddit are ecstatic to have you here on the sofa.
Yeah, a little bit of pushback, some clips, some maybe questionable behavior that they're not a fan of, but I think Dota is a game that definitely riles up emotions. It gets you excited, it gets you angry, which is also, why it can be so great. But, it's a work in progress, and I am definitely ready to, watch and talk about TI.
And I just can't wait to get to pick your brain as well. I mean, I think we can all agree that if someone had the lowlights of us playing Dota, it would probably be pretty scary as well. Pycat on the end, we managed to get a Swedish supermodel as well, just to come and take time out of his busy schedule to talk about some video games. Dude, how you feeling?
I'm good. I'm feeling good. I'm excited to watch some TI, watch some Dota.
I mean, this is kind of crazy, right? I mean, when you think about it, 23 million, bigger than ever before, 18 teams. We haven't really seen that before. I know you were kind of thinking about it. Not really haven't seen 18 teams at TI.
Yeah, I mean, the difference now is that the last team, I mean, now we're going to have 18 teams playing in the group stage.
Yeah.
And the teams that get knocked out, they're going to actually have an impact in how the group stages go. There could be that they beat some team and they don't make it into the upper bracket or the lower bracket. So these, regardless of their finish, if they finish last, they will actually have an impact on the group stage, or they could have.
And you've kind of touched on it already, but two teams will not make the gorgeous Key Arena. They won't get a chance. They'll be forced to watch from the stands and will not get to walk out to that adoring crowd and, of course, that infamous arena. With that said, though, for those of you that want to get involved, as we are here, you can do so on social media. These are the ways in which you can do so. One of the avenues I know Valve are big fans of is Twitter. All of your feedback thrown towards at Dota2 and the hashtag TI7. 7 now. Time does fly. Outside of that, Facebook as well, just hit us with the /Dota2, nice and easy, and on Instagram for pictures of puppies. That's right, it's no secret. Dota2 TI is where you can go ahead and pick that one up. All of that, though, if you are watching, it's just nice and easy. Twitch.tv/Dota2TI. That is the URL you can throw at your friends, your mum, your pets, whoever. Tell them to come and join us as we're about to embark on another Dota 2 adventure. And I mean, talking about this adventure, we have to kind of show them the groups, boys. 2 groups of 9 is how this one's going to be going down, and already Pycat's kind of hinted at it as to how this is going to go down. You can see them behind us. I think the first question has to be, is there a clear kind of toppled group? Is there one that you think looks harder than the other, Will?
I would say Group A has a lot of the favorites for me.
Okay.
2 out of the top 3 in my predictions would be EG and Liquid, who are both prominently featured in that group, as well as some really strong underdogs there. You've got TNC, who could really make a splash, Fnatic, who's very unpredictable, as well as LGD. I mean, this group just completely stands out for me.
No, I know, Pycat, your eyebrows may be raised there, because I think you were kind of confused by the way that the invited teams were split between the 2 groups.
Yeah, we had some talks about this. It's like there are 4 invited teams in Group B.
Yeah.
It's, is it OG, then there's Newbie, VP, and what's the last one? IG, right. So there's actually 4 invited teams in one group. So one could argue that they have more invited teams, and that might be strange. But as it looks now, I think LGD looks pretty strong.
Yeah.
So I could see why they did this, but I don't necessarily feel that either group is stronger. It's really difficult to tell like in advance. I feel like those teams, this LGD and like VP and who else is it? Newbie. You don't really know how they're gonna do. I mean, VP are kind of, a lot of people think they're gonna do really well, but then, it's TI and
it is TI.
anything can really happen.
Where do you stand on that discussion, Quinn, in terms of like, how much do you think the results leading up to TI are going to have, an impact on not only your judgment, but also player performance?
I think results, they matter, but you don't want to be too in the spotlight, right? Like sort of the example everyone uses is OG last year, just absolutely dominant, and they come in and, have a pretty underwhelming, performance. So I think it's about like staying flexible, like being able to like mix things up, while you're winning, like continue to adapt even while having success. Because whenever you're winning, it's very hard to change your play style or, adapt because you're like, oh, we're winning. What we have is currently good. Other teams are the ones in the hot seat. But you can't just, stay stagnant even while you're winning because teams will catch up. They'll figure you out. It's a long event.
I mean, we are talking kind of, you've hinted at them already, a team that have never had major issues, pun absolutely intended, but haven't managed to get that Aegis. I mean, what do you make of OG? I mean, is this the chance for them? Is this kind of all or nothing now, Will, for OG?
I don't think so, but I think this year they have a bit of a better chance than they did last year. I feel like last year there was a lot more of a spotlight on them, and I feel like that scares a lot of teams. When it's one of your first internationals, especially with, they had Miracle playing his first TI.
Yeah.
Throughout the year, he was shining, dimmed out a little bit at the main event, but, you get some experience under your belt. You understand more about your team. You have a better idea of how you want to approach things. I think it helps.
Yeah, I actually semi-jokingly talked to Matt about the coach of OG, like last year before TI, when we were at the major, Manila major, was it? That was the one before. And I said that, it's like winning this event, and then they also had won the ESL Frankfurt one.
Yeah.
It's like, that's scary to do right before a TI. Just
How
you win
so?
those events. I think it is. It's like when you win these last events leading up to TI,
Yeah.
I feel like it puts you in a state, like, first of all, like you said, people are going to look at you a lot. Everyone's going to target you. Everyone's going to think, this is the team to beat. How do we figure these guys out? And also, you get into this, if you end up feeling like, well, we're really good right now,
Yeah.
If you feel too confident, then things might not go your way.
I just want to kind of explore this just for a moment now, Quinn, with you, in terms of teams looking at you. Surely, when this is the tournament every year, everyone wanting to go ahead and make that life-changing money and, of course, all that pride and prestige, surely they're looking at everyone.
Yeah, I think, teams definitely prepare for everyone, but it's, you know what heroes people are generally going to pick, their openers, things like that, but it's hard to, have stuff prepped like for the heroes you're going to pick against certain teams or how you want to play against their play style. You can do that for a few teams, at the start, your maybe first couple of matches. And as the event, you prep for the teams, the main stage that you're going to play. But, going into the group stage, some of these lesser-known teams, it's hard to, figure out a play style you want against theirs. So necessarily, some of their heroes, but you don't really know their play style super well a lot of times.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll talk about lesser-known teams in a moment, but I think just let's kind of get some real concrete discussion surrounding, the invited or at least the favorites in everyone's eyes. I know a lot of people are discussing Liquid and getting to see kind of Kuroki guide his mentor to lifting that trophy. I mean, looking at you now, Pycat, do you think that this is their chance?
Well, the garbage man, he could definitely do it this year. The one thing that speaks against it is that they just won the DreamHack tournament, like I said.
Yeah.
But I actually do. I've heard some inside information about Liquid. We're apparently doing really well right now, and I think that they are definitely one of the top three, like in my book, to go really far.
How would you describe, Quinn, how would you describe Liquid to someone that hadn't seen too much of their style of play? I know everyone just seems to regard them as a bunch of incredibly talented, humble individuals.
Yeah, I think the team, sort of their concept is Kuroki, a very old school, very knowledgeable player about Dota with, like you said, 4 younger players, super talented, and, all willing to learn, willing to follow his, his captaining, which is what a lot of times is the optimal setup. You want, 1 or 2 voices, people with strong opinions, and you follow those ideas about Dota. It's like a very good way to play the game. You don't have, too many cooks in the kitchen.
Well, I mean, we have a kind of a cook who's no stranger to the kitchen next to you. I saw you were nodding when you was discussing the fact of having 1, if not 2 voices. The rest are kind of willing to be molded, willing to kind of take someone else's ideas surrounding the game. Will, do you think that's the optimum setup? If we look at towards OG, you've got the kind of the backbones of Fly, No-Tell, Mad as well. Those are the voices filling the team.
Yeah, for sure. And the key here is that you just have this strong presence in your captain. You have a guy like Fly who's been around, He's just a strong leader. You respect everything that he says. Kuro, in that regard, last year, I remember how it was. It was these guys looked to him for strength when they were nervous, and they were nervous last year. That was our issue. Is he came into this tournament a little bit scared as well, but this year, I think for the most part, they've gotten over that.
Yeah, and of course, I'd be foolish not to mention the likes of EG. We haven't spoken too much about them and what they're going to be up to in this one. Quinn, I mean, everyone is expecting big things. Getting to see, cool, calm, collected. Damn it, wasn't necessarily meant this time. But of course, getting to see Sumail doing his thing again on that stage. And what do you make of them?
Yeah, I think Sumail in particular, he's a player that people sort of wonder why is his MMR so low and things like that. But you look at his performance in these big tournaments, and he always shows up. He's a player that never really falls flat on whatever the spotlight is on him. He always shines in it. He always does super well. The rest of EG, obviously very accomplished, very respected players, and like you said, I think they are expected to do very well. And it's a team. They're all sort of friends. It is sort of that similar setup of they have Crit that has strong ideas about Dota, and they sort of follow that. But I think they're a team that has a lot of camaraderie, more than maybe other teams. They all just sort of they're the boys.
The boys. What's your read on EG, Pikecat? This is a team that I think consistent is a word that's going to be thrown around an awful lot. Even undergoing roster changes, they seem to come out head above water.
Well, I think EG are probably one of the teams with the highest skill cap, one of the highest individually skilled teams. One could argue it's them, I guess, Liquid, and to some extent VP. I don't know if you guys agree on that, but I think so. And my only question is if this camaraderie thing is going to work out in the end, because it can be tough. I feel like if you don't have this strong leader, we have seen them. There were a few tournaments this year where they kind of didn't do as well as people would have thought. So my question is, if they're gonna have, are they gonna have everything figured out for this TI? Like, do they know what they're doing this TI? Do they know who to follow if things go south? Like, what are they gonna do? If they start losing games in, I don't know, group stage, if they end up in some lower bracket, will they feel calm still, or will they will that be a problem for them?
I mean, what do we make, just final question surrounding EG, what do we make of their leniency towards playing more Chinese Dota tournaments than perhaps other Western opportunities? I mean, what do we think about that? Is that them acknowledging they think that Chinese Dota is more challenging? Well,
I think for the most part, when I asked them about that, because that was something I brought up, I was like, it seems like you guys go abroad a lot, and they just said that they like the environment. It's a little bit of a switch. If you just play in your region, you don't really get to experience the flavor of other ones.
Sure.
And that was part of the problem with previous teams, where you would just stay in your region, you'd only get to experience that. But I think, especially with Wings coming to America last year to exclusively play the NA scene, they kind of got the best of both worlds. They were prepared in that way.
We know it worked out for them as well.
Absolutely.
And unfortunately, we won't get to see them. We won't get to see Wings have a chance to defend their title. It's not one of the first times we haven't had that returning champion to try and keep the Aegis under their control. Now, we did talk a little bit about VP. And I think this is a team that a lot of people were very excited about. My first foray into Dota was, of course, Boston. Everyone was on that VP hype train. Pikecat, do they still play the CIS Dota? Are they up in your face, quick start, snowballing the game out of control? Is that still the VP that we expect to see at TI?
I think their style of CIS Dota is a more refined one. I think the old CIS Dota was kind of, you actually just ran at people and you kind of threw bodies and you traded kills like there's no tomorrow.
Sure.
But these guys, they have it's a more strategic approach where they actually, they're fine with, they get a few kills, they get a little bit ahead, because VP always want to be ahead from lane stage. They want to win at least 2 lanes, and then they just want to keep pressuring you. They get a little bit ahead, and then they keep pushing that advantage. Little by little, they kind of choke you out, That's how they play. They like staying ahead, and they like to kind of slowly just make the game tougher and tougher for you, and use the advantage they get in the early game to kind of close out the game. So the idea is kind of similar. It's just that they don't, they have a much higher level of execution, which leads to them being able to win many of these games.
Now, Blitz, of course, when you're sitting with the coaching hat on, I'm sure you're familiar with a lot of that Virtus Pro style. What is the kryptonite to that? What is something that you've identified that is, if you were looking for the Achilles heel of that style of play, is that something that you've managed to identify?
Yeah, when we played them at, I think it was Genting, ESL Genting.
Okay.
We knocked them out in the semifinals, and what we realized about this team is you have to be extremely patient and calm. Like these guys sometimes they will overdo it. They're gonna run at you a little bit too hard.
Sure.
They'll forget. And when we picked heavy team fight and we just kept calm and we realized like, okay, they can't take fights anymore. They really fall off. At the same time though, like Pycat said, sometimes they can just overrun you. And I feel like their style for TI is perfectly suited because a lot of these teams are going to feel this pressure. You get behind a few kills, you start to forget some of your basics, and you just start to panic.
Yeah, and that is a big question. In fact, I mean, you know, let's just start with you then, Pycat. Do you play differently at TI? That's the big question.
Yes.
100%.
You definitely do. I think it's always been like that. It always goes back to, I mean, back in the days we used to see when people went to TI, everyone started picking Morphling and Anti-Mage. Everyone started picking Tidehunter, Enigma, all these heroes that kind of win you the game one way or another. Enigma with the BKB, you know, Tide Ravages, this late game Anti-Mage Morphling. It's like when people play at this tournament, you tend to go towards the more safer things. And this was, when I was coaching DC last year, this was one thing that we actually managed to use to our advantage, and which I think led to us going far, was that we got to a point where we were kind of happy as a team. Everyone was trying to play to win. And when you actually play to win instead of going for these defensive heroes, when people are playing just not to lose, you become more scary as a team. When you can actually play to win in a tournament like this, when you let go of your thoughts, when you stop thinking about that it's TI, when you actually just play Dota, then you can play at a very different level, I think.
Oh, no, that's very interesting. So you're almost expecting everyone else to play different in TI. You're forcing yourself to play kind of as similar as possible, if not more aggressive.
Yeah,
Is that
exactly.
something you've considered there, Quinn, that like players are going to play differently and that's just accepted across the board, that people are going to have some fear in them?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I think it's the biggest stage in Dota, and it's sort of a example is people will almost never GG out in TI games. They'll wait until the throne dies. They'll play until the very last, even if it's basically a hopeless game. I think sort of back to VP. I think one of the things about them that we always sort of think of Russian Dota in this very run at you style. They're very aggressive all the time, and I think they do play that style. But I think something that VP have shown at the summit, especially, was that they're not just constricted to that play style. They can do a lot of other things. They play a lot of different heroes, and I think going into this event, maybe not they're doing a similar thing, not to that caliber as they did to the summit, where they just never pick the same hero. But I think from what I've heard, they're playing heroes. They're coming into drafts with pre-decided heroes almost.
Okay.
Pre-formed drafts. They use very little reserve time, and they sort of have an idea of how they want to play the game before they go into it. So I think like VP is very confident going into this tournament. I think just as a team, as players, they're super confident, and maybe the cockiest team.
And they do fit the profile that we outlined earlier, right? Surrounding like a kind of solo, that voice, and having the young blood such as No One and Ramsey's just kind of running around and playing some really, really good Dota. Let's head over to the Chinese region for a second then, because Newbie was a name that was thrown around and we haven't really explored too much. But for those that are unfamiliar with Newbie, Will, how would you set the scene? How would you, in that team huddle, say, this is what we have to expect from Newbie?
They're incredibly stable. We played them right before the TI qualifiers at Galaxy Battle.
Okay.
We played them in 2 different series, and all I realized is this is the most patient team alive.
Define.
So to get into some Dota here, the way that we would play is we would shove in the lanes and we try to get as much map control as possible.
Sure.
And oftentimes what ends up happening in the response is a team will panic and they'll try to break out of their base. They'll take a sloppy smoke or a fight, and then we would just capitalize. The game would be over. We'd run them over. With Newbie, we would get like a 10K lead. They would never leave their base. They were just stuck in there. They didn't care what was going on. They didn't care that they were behind. They realized these guys eventually are going to make a mistake. Let's just wait for them to kind of impale themselves.
And did you make a mistake?
Several times. We got 3-0'd in that series real bad. But in each of those games, we were up 10K.
Yeah.
I was thinking to myself as a coach, you see 10K, that's the magic number. You think to yourself, the game's over.
Right.
Nope. Newbie, they're going to sit in their base. They're going to be patient, more patient than anyone we met at that tournament.
And you just said that people don't GG out, right? So Newbie are going to be playing to the bittersweet end.
Yeah, for sure. I think Newbie, even if you look at their statistics, sort of like Blitz said about the patient, they're a team that takes towers. A lot of teams, you'll see them try and take the mid tower, take the enemy safe lane tower very quickly and very close to each other. Newbie's tower taking times are so much later than everyone else's. Their first tower falls, sometimes even close to the 20-minute mark. They're very, very patient, and they really do. They capitalize on other people's mistakes. They're very farm, very just a chill team.
So if it's not towers, what is their early game priority? Just farm and survivability?
It really is just a lot of farming and a lot of prioritizing on enemy mistakes. And looking for plays if they have the opportunity. Right. But they're not a very fast team.
So long story short, from what I'm gathering from the couch is that newbie are going to try and exploit your mistakes, and they will wait for you to make a mistake for however long it takes. Everyone's going to be making mistakes on that stage. Then,
well,
right?
in China, they have, when I went to China to play there with LGD Int, the Chinese, one of the first things they said is that if you can't go high ground, then your advantage is false. And that's kind of how they approached it. I mean, back then, people were talking about the Chinese wall. You couldn't push high ground against Chinese teams. And with some Chinese teams, it still is true. I mean, they have faith on the team, and he's the one. I mean, he won TI2, so he's one of the kind of old school Chinese players. So I think there's that mentality still there. You can see that he also has adapted a lot, and I think he's a very intelligent drafter and the captain. And you can see that he's incorporated a lot of new things.
Yeah.
But you can see that it still holds some truth to it. The idea about the Chinese Dota.
I don't know what you've done, but Will's just kind of, you're in thought.
That was so cool.
You like that?
That idea, if you can't go high ground,
then your advantage is false.
That's so cool.
You're going to get that tattooed on your arm, right? You're going to come back day 3. He's going to have like...
But I think we should talk a bit about the two LGD teams.
Yes, it'd be foolish not to.
It's very impressive that both of them have looked really strong leading up to this event. We've seen them, I mean, in these recent kind of events, they've both been doing very well, right? They haven't participated in too many events together, but I mean, at least not away from China. But they've been doing well. I mean, I've seen them both place high in many of these recent events. And I also think it's very funny. We have Yao and DDC on 2 different teams. They used to be teammates. Yao used to play a different position. But DDC, he's been around for a really long time. And both of those guys, they used to play together. Now playing against each other all the time, but doing really well and carrying the LGD banner. I'm happy for those guys.
I think it's the question I asked you guys over breakfast was which one is better. I always find it interesting when you do have those partner teams. But I mean, did you have the answer? Did you have the one at the tip of the tongue? You can see the games behind us.
LGD.
We will get to see LGD. And we'll get to see LGD today on the first stream. That's right. So if you look behind us, the first 4 games, it does also tell you that there is going to be 4 streams. So you better go ahead and buy a couple of extra monitors so you can keep track of everything that's going to be going down. But we will be starting on our first stream, EG TNC. We'll be talking about that in just a moment. You get to see Liquid's debut versus IG. You get LGD versus Fnatic, and you get Team Secret versus Empire. Now, did anyone receive word whether we did get Chappie here? Did he make it in time?
No.
He's not, so we have
resolutions.
So there's some excitement. I know you don't look particularly excited, Will. He's going back to his roots, at least in an organization.
I'm super happy for him.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
Any opportunity to play TI, he works so hard this year.
Yeah?
He deserves this, absolutely.
So Resolution will be playing. We'll get to see Chappie eventually in the Empire roster, but still, they'll be playing versus Team Secret. Out of the 4, we are going to be focusing on EGTNC, but out of the other 3, is there anyone that particularly jumps out off your screen, Quinn? Which one would you be most excited for?
I think LGD Fnatic. I think.
Why is that?
If there's a team with Kyo on it, you always sort of want to look at the team and and see how they do, because the teams with him on it, that very super aggressive play style, can be very hit or miss. And I think it's a team that a lot of teams are sort of keeping their eye on, like how they're going to be doing, because if they are on fire, then you have to watch out for this team because they play very fast. It can be very unexpected to just suddenly have just dozens of heroes in your lane.
Yeah.
And it's a team you have to prep for, you have to be ready for. So I think people in general are going to be watching to see how that team does. Okay,
let's keep your eyes on them. Is there anything to add to the pile, Will? I mean, I'm guessing your eyes are going to be watching that Empire game, right? So you just want to see what Rezo is up to?
Yeah, I mean, these are all 4 of these games I've got kind of a stake in. Fnatic, we used to play against QO and Febby back in Korea. And my earliest memory of QO was actually him yelling at his, the first team that he was on. He's like, you need to fight with me. He's just screaming at them in Korean, and you realize this is how this guy thinks. He just wants to fight. He does not care about objectives. He's just kill people, make them scared. He's literally screaming at the top of his lungs. He's you need to kill people with me. And I was wow, this guy's something else.
He's a brawler.
Yeah, it's just kind of always how he's been. That's why this is the key characteristic of every team that he plays on because he's such a centerpiece.
Well, I mean, at the centerpiece of our stream 1, which is going to be EG-TNC, is where we're going to turn our attention now. This is where I can kind of pick your brains. I know that I was going to be asking you for a brainstorming session, Will, just beforehand. Just yesterday, I was like, TNC, fill me in. And you said there's a lot to be discussed surrounding these two as they're about to clash.
Yeah, TNC especially is probably one of the more kill-heavy teams. We talk about teams that favor objectives, but for me, when we played against them, it just felt like they were going for kills nonstop. They were one of the few teams that ran Ember Spirit and Phantom Lancer still. And these heroes, they can't really go high ground. All they do is kill you nonstop around the map. You can't even take Roshan. Like, these aren't easy objectives. So they're a kind of team that snowballs really hard, and I feel like TI, it'll suit their kind of meta.
Is there anything to add to the TNC pile?
Well, I just wanted to just quickly just say that for me, at least, it's IG Liquid. I think,
sorry, I didn't get to ask you.
Yeah,
right.
just because I feel like that's a matchup between two really strong teams that I expect to go quite far in this tournament. With that said, I think that the TNC EG, it's going to be interesting. I think they're two very good carry players in this game. Both Raven and Arteezy are some very highly, focused on GPM, and they're very kind of carry-esque kind of carry players, the traditional. Although recently we have seen Artur take kind of a step back and play more of a position 2 and let Sumail carry, and it's worked out really well for them. And I think that's a very big step for him to kind of take a step back. Yeah. He's kind of taken the approach more that Fear used to have a little bit more, and kind of let Sumail do the carrying most of the part. And I think that's kudos to him.
What is the general consensus surrounding this? Is Arteezy kind of the front runner of this carries starting to have to do less, kind of out of the limelight switch that we're seeing from Dota at the moment?
I'd say Matama Man is probably the first one to like make that very big switch from like not playing these carry heroes to playing the heroes that kind of just sit there, that do their thing.
Wouldn't say No-Tail though.
High impact on the game. That's true.
Yeah.
I feel like he's at least for me, the one that comes to mind the most, because he's always been this guy. Even you see his Terrorblade, he's like level 5, he takes a mid tower. It's like, I don't know, I never saw anyone else do that. Yeah. He rotates on the map. And we saw them play carry Visage and stuff too.
I think some people are just kind of, when you see Arteezy just sitting in the safe lane with a Venomancer, and you're kind of like, what's going on here? Who is this guy?
The weird part is he was the one that originally introduced the carry role to the mid lane. And so for him to have to take that step back, completely reverse himself. I know the first iteration when he was with EG during the Frankfurt Major, he was telling me something felt off. And I think it was because they were both vying to carry this team. But now after talking to him at the most recent Major, it seems like he has a better understanding of how that dynamic is supposed to work between the two of them.
And I mean, in terms of how these guys are going to face off, EG clear favorites in everyone's mind here. Is that right?
I don't know.
Look, see, eyebrows just immediately dart. Let's explain your thought process just then. Quinn.
I don't know about clear favorites. I don't think you can even say favorites for this tournament. I think one of the coolest things about this TI is how close a lot of these teams are.
He meant for the matchup.
I meant in the matchup, but I mean.
Oh, you meant in the matchup?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. In the matchup, yeah, I think definitely the clear favorites. We sort of talked about TNC potentially being a dark horse. So, you sort of have to see how they turn up. They did, very, very well against the teams in their region, against these C teams, and have done, quite well at, larger events. Yeah. Have taken games off of Liquid at Star Ladder, and in general is just a very solid team. But I think EG's playstyle does quite well against them. So, we'll have to see.
And EG's playstyle starts in the draft. Now, we're not going to be going through the draft here on this pre-show, but in terms of expectations for that, have EG going to kind of copy and paste how they've been playing up until TI here? Are they going to be keeping some of the aces up their sleeves for now, do you think, Pycat? You're going to be seeing more puck on Sumail or flex pick puck? What else are we going to expect to see?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they kind of stick to at least some of those heroes. Yeah. Some puck and sanking and stuff. Sure. But it is TI, and many teams like to have a number of different kind of strategies set and going into TI, so you can switch things up if you want to do so.
Okay, and with all of that said, I think it is actually almost time for us to say our goodbyes. The game is still getting ready, so I'm just going to get final thoughts and predictions from you handsome gentlemen as we have kicked off our very first day of TI. So, Will, EG, TNC, give me a team name and your final thoughts, scene set of this game.
I will say that TNC surprises.
Ooh, okay.
I think that EG are known as slow starters. I feel like this is going to kind of bite them here. I feel like TNC, very motivated. I think their kill-heavy playstyle is going to lend them very well here. I think EG will bounce back later on, but I think in this first series, I'll say TNC.
What do you make of that, Quinn?
I think there is some credence to that, but I also think the way EG have been playing more recently, this faster style, these heroes like Venomancer that are very hard to run into, and I think that's going to end up, TNC is just going to have a hard time playing their game. So I also think EG is just, on paper, the better team, so I'll go with EG.
Okay. So what do you reckon, this slow starter idea, is this something that's still applicable to EG?
I do think Will has a point in it for sure. We've always seen EG as one of those kind of slow starter teams.
Start warming up.
They, they need a couple of warm-up games. They never really do that well in their first games of a tournament. That said, I do think that when it comes TNC versus EG, I feel like TNC should have a difficulty closing out the game against EG. Yeah. And so I'm still going to side with EG.
Okay, well, it sounds like the players are still getting into the lobby, so it does mean that we have a little bit more time to kind of, cover the other matchups, because I feel like I don't want to, completely blow their ears off. The casters, of course, will be talking all about EG and TNC when they do get into that one. But so outside of that, I know that the opening matchup that caught your eye was the Team Liquid matchup, and I find the Team Liquid concept, Masters of Epicenter was where I got to see them play their Dota most recently, but it's a very intriguing approach they seem to have to Dota. Are we still going to see Matumba Man's Lone Druid, is my first question to you, because that was fun.
I would definitely not be surprised if we saw a Lone Druid from Matumba Man. I think it's going to be, he's going to play that at least a couple of times. I'm also looking forward to the Matumba Man Lycan, obviously. I talked a bit to him, and he was ready to go with the, with his thing. Yeah, he's ready, I think. But yeah, I think it's a very interesting matchup. It's Kuro versus Q. It's OP versus, I guess, Miracle, and we have Burning versus Matumba Man. I think they're kind of different teams. We've also recently seen, I feel at least, Liquid have also kind of been more lenient towards having Miracle do more of the heavy lifting in terms of carry. Matumba Man has become a bit more of a playmaker, whereas Burning, he's still been a lot on the traditional hard carries, although we did see him, I remember a couple of tournaments back, he was playing this Venge with Pipe and Hood, Pipe and Solar and stuff. So we're seeing a lot of these carry players transition to it, but I just feel like the player matchups in this game it's very interesting.
And that's going to be going on stream 2. Now, it does sound like the players are ready for our stream 1 game, and that means that EGTNC is coming up. A big thank you to our guests. You'll be seeing us in the evening as well. We're going to wrap it up, put a bow on it, and talk you through what you missed in the day if you couldn't catch all of them with your 4 eyes necessary to catch it all. But the groups are off. TI7 is kicking off, and your first game here on your first stream is going to be EG taking on TNC. Let's jump in with your casters and kick things off.
From a beautiful panel to a beautiful casting pair. I'm Toby1, joined by the most miraculous Cinderin, as we're going into the International 2017 Day 1, Stream A, Game 1.
Yeah, this is a great match to kick everything off. Very excited to see both these teams. I think, in my mind, 2 teams that have a chance to go very far, so I love as the panel was talking about, they seemed a little bit uncertain who, or at least divided as to who the favorites were. I believe Blitz, who favored TNC in this particular matchup, and kind of the rest was a bit more on the E train. I think they hit the nail on the head though with the playstyle we're going to see. Maybe a bit faster than early on, and EG generally as a team seem to be fairly slow at getting into tournaments. That's something we should never forget. The classic lower bracket team that has a slow start against TNC generally does well in the beginning. So. See what form they're in here from the beginning.
Yeah. I'm wondering if EG do actually bring that kind of form. TNC for me, like when I was going through the list of teams who, you had that list of who is going to create an upset, who is going to be that team which you don't know if they're going to win or not. TNC is one of those ones that flagged up. You will have to remember the run that the brand had last year. Obviously, it was a slightly different team, but now being led by 1437 with Kips behind the scenes as well, and everyone in TNC just playing beautiful and synergized Dota. They are definitely up there as one of those teams. I'm not surprised that Blitz would back them to really give EG a run for their money.
Yeah. I do believe this is 4 out of the 5 same player T team, isn't it? 3.
The only one you changed was Jimmy?
Was it? That's what I can't remember if Tims was playing in the iteration last year, or if Tims is new as well compared to 1 year ago. But I'm pretty sure Kuku, Raven, and Sam H were definitely on the TI6 team.
We'll double check it and get back to you.
Yeah, we'll double check it.
Well.
So anyway, let's talk a little bit about the picks now. So
Yes.
We're a little bit into the draft now. Not too surprising as far as bans go. This is the type of bans that you will generally see against a team. A very stun-heavy team, especially their offlane player Sam H is a very renowned Sand King player, for example, which is not really that good in the offlane right now, in my opinion, but he has been exceptional on that hero. A hero like Batrider is perfect for him. That's the one they're going to end up grabbing here in the first phase. And as far as EG goes, you generally don't want to give them IO, and Shaker right now is a top-tier pick and ban. I think we're going to see this hero banned a lot just as a meta ban, rather than a targeted ban toward the team. Shaker is just a... Guess what? EG will just go for their classic first pick Puck that they've run recently.
Just so classic to have that Oracle come in the second, though?
It's a Batrider counter, I think, mainly. EG want to keep their options open, but as far as the cores go, and then they just pick a support that seems to have good flexibility against the opponent. Picking that into Batrider is nice. The problem for Oracle, however, is that this hero is very positioning dependent, and you can be caught out by both Batrider and Night Stalker. They're going to be playing at a vision deficit almost guaranteed when you look at this draft. So that's something EG kind of have to solve, either by getting scouting heroes such as a Lycan type hero, find heroes, or having a lineup that is so, how to put it, that I don't want to say deathball, but that it's very grouped up together, so it's much harder for Batrider to find picks.
Well, the Deathball may be actually be the way to go. Like, when you talk about Oracle pickups, normally you talk about the hero he's going to work with. Like, is it just meant to be saving the Batrider, or is he meant to enable the other possible hero? This could be a Universe Puck. Do we look at other options now for Samael to run in that mid lane?
There's a couple of key heroes, I think, that you need to keep in mind when Oracle is picked. One of them is Huskar. He's gone.
Fourth ban from TNC.
Good choice. Oracle generally makes me think of heroes, that regenerate somehow, so you get a lot out of False Promise. A hero like Alchemist could still be an option for... It is...
There were some people actually tossing Alchemist around, wondering if he would actually appear in this tournament.
You're always going to see Alchemist in big tournaments. It's always going to be... So, the way I look at it is that in these tournaments, there's going to be different paced games based on matchups and based on how much information the teams have about each other. And if the game slows down just a bit, Alchemist gets a lot better as a pick. But maybe this early on, it's not time yet to pull out that kind of pick. But we know Samael plays a really good Alchemist. And EG haven't been afraid of playing it recently. I think they're one of the only teams, actually, in the last 2 months that have been picking Alchemist at least a couple of times. I can't remember who the opponent was, but I remember Samael just getting completely out of control with his Alchemist. What else is a classic Oracle pairing?
Death Prophet would be the other one.
Death Prophet, yeah. Very good choice for Samael as well. Surely be... It's a bit... Again, you need to have the good positioning on Oracle then, because Death Prophet actually doesn't like facing Batrider. You're standing close to the tower, you're hitting it with Exorcism, and then if you get pulled into the enemy team, you don't really have any defensive ways of getting out unless Oracle is on the ball. So...
And Samael's mainly been playing like Lena's, Embers, Queen of Pains as the primary heroes. Some more Samael-style heroes, not these just walk-at-you-style heroes, which everyone gets a little impressed when Samael plays, because he can't highlight his full abilities. I Spirit Siphon, yay, I'm a player.
Well, you can display a lot of skill on DP as well, but it's just not as flashy. I agree with that.
Rubik. Probably going to be one of the biggest contested heroes next to Pudge in the Arcana draft for conversation talks. EI.
Something we here talked about too much is the value of Null Field. Generally, you focus on can he steal some cool spells? You have Telekinesis, you have Fate Bolt to depush, but the Null Field can be very important. And at least this two opening from EG is more or less only magic damage. And that is not going to change with that pick either, unless it's a core, which I seriously doubt. There's probably a Zai Conka here. Actually, this hero has some interesting counterplay potential against Batrider. You have the X marks the spot to target the guy who gets lassoed, and then pull him back out. So now they have both supports have counterplay for lasso. Also, innately, a nice way of catching the Batrider out. In both in lane and in the mid game, you can catch him with that X mark. Make things happen, but still, EG no vision.
Yep.
And that is my primary concern for them right now, because now they've picked two supports. It has to be a core giving vision.
It's feeling more Deathball, combining Ghost Shift plus the survivability of Oracle, the teamfight control that can come from the Puck. but they're still missing someone that can push the lane.
Yeah.
You got all this wonderful team fight and survivability in their lineup, but you don't have more. You don't have that ability to actually force TNC into an engagement. And now they've got the Juggernaut. It's even more safety in lane. They've got the vision advantage. They've got the farm advantage. They've got immunity advantage. It's wonderful for them.
There we go.
All right.
That's the vision hero.
There's your vision and there's your push.
Yeah. Probably going to be seeing this run by Arteezy. And this also means that TNC, picking Arteezy's hero at this point, I really like just because it conceals the puck for as long as possible. TNC aren't completely sure now what type of hero they need to ban because this puck could be either offlane or mid. If they would have picked the mid hero for some ale, such as an Alchemist, then TNC know for sure that they can last ban a carry that they don't want to pair up with that Oracle. There's plenty of options here, the way I see it for EG. It's not that easy. They're going to go ahead and ban the Beastmaster, so a Vision hero being taken out here that Universe could have run. Would have also been very nice for their pushing aspect with the Inner Beast aura, and of course... Primal Roars, a nice way of dealing with the type of hero that Juggernaut is. A BKB piercing or a Magic Immunity piercing stun is very powerful against Jugger.
Would have been a lot safer as well than running something like the Universe Enigma offlane, which would give you your push and your teamfight control, but fares poorly against the Rube. Just because he could turn it around on him.
I could definitely see Enigma being a choice here. It doesn't sound too bad. I somehow have a feeling that this puck might be run offlane just because of the support duo he's facing. Rubik and Night Stalker are actually not that good at killing puck until nighttime. Especially when the carry in the lane is a Juggernaut. You know, their only stun is Telekinesis, which is pretty short, and then they have Void. Until Night Stalker hits level 2, if he skills Silence level 2 as Night Stalker support, which is pretty uncommon because then you reach nighttime and then are you actually going to have Hunter in the night when night begins? Unless he does that. Puck fares pretty well here in that offlane, I think. It's not too bad.
He should do pretty well, like with the Lycan buff up as well. That should give him a lot more to function with.
For sure.
You just got to have the selfless, safe laning Arteezy.
Oh, that's actually a very good point as well, though we didn't mention. They picked Lycan into Night Stalker. That's a classic counter pick in this patch where, there's going to be a lot of nighttime, so now we pick the hero that has that empowers the entire team during the night. And it actually went through all the way to 4th pick. I don't think TNC were thinking about this hero, because a lot of other teams are banning Lycan after they pick the NS. They might have thought Veno was a bigger threat, but...
Veno would have caused a lot of problems for the Batrider.
Yes.
More than anything else. And so what is our last one? It's going to be the Faceless Void. So they go
puck.
for Teamfight Lockdown. A little bit of trouble, though, doing damage into Chronosphere targets.
Yeah, so when you pick Void with a melee core, one of two things needs to happen. Either the Chrono needs to be placed very well so your melee hero can hit the targets in the Chrono on the edge, or you use Chrono as a control tool that the carry then plays around. The reason Lycan and Void actually don't have the worst synergy ever, you're thinking like, oh, I Chrono someone, but Lycan can't hit. Lycan can hit everyone else, because he can really quickly maneuver around the Chronosphere or play the numbers game, where if 2 or 3 heroes are stunned, Lycan is very powerful in fights. He wins almost every single man fight just by virtue of being ridiculously strong at that phase in the game. And he can run down the supports. So if you Chrono the cores, then Lycan will get 1 or 2 kills during that Chrono. And the rest of the lineup kill in the Chrono. So there's a lot of other heroes that deal damage in Chrono. Queen of Pain last.
So she'll be heading towards the mid, and that wraps up the TNC and EG lineups. Queen of Pain, like, it gives them their burst damage, but is she really going to be able to win out against a puck? It's an old-fashioned matchup, the Queen of Pain versus a puck.
It's different now than it used to be a year or 2 ago. This lane, in my book, is quite a bit puck-favored. It used to be like considered one of the true 50-50s almost. But I think in this patch, the puck has maybe a 10% farm advantage in that lane. If both players play very well, you win like 60-40 maybe. And it's simply by puck has better damage and has better sustain in the lane by being able to dodge attacks with phase shift. You can counter out the Shadow Strike, and of course, your ability to push the wave is better than Queen's if it comes to that, so you have a higher chance of getting runes because you have 2 spells that can nuke out the wave and better mana economy in general. I don't know if this was the right choice, picking this Queen of Pain. They're picking it into Kunkka, who's considered a decent counter. If X marks the spot to put back. She can get messed with quite a lot by time dilation. And Lycan is one of the few carries that can actually catch you after your blink. So I think EG have the tools here. I kind of favor them a bit as far as this draft goes, because they solved the problems that they have.
Yeah. I'm still interested to see how TNC set the pace of this game. We talked about TNC playing a fast game against EG. Their lineup will allow for that. If Queen of Pain's early rotations work out, if the Juggernaut finds himself useful with rotations, and maybe that's the question we should probably start asking. When do the cores really start causing problems for Evil Geniuses. When does the Juggernaut actually start his rotations? Where is his first impact he's looking for? Is it to go into the T1 tower up on the top lane? Is it meant to be to rotate to the bottom lane and try and shut down Arteezy? How does TNC keep EG on the back foot?
I think their lineup is very, very momentum based, so it's very fitting, right? It's I don't want to call it a hit or miss lineup, but it's one where if you don't get stuff done in the first 10 minutes, I feel like it falls flat a little bit. So they've put themselves, in that sense, a little bit on a clock to perform actions, but at the same time, their lineup is also really good at doing it. At night time, you have Night Stalker and Bat Rider playing together. The Rubik can rotate for ganks. You have 2 strong cores to gank for. The Bat Rider is a really good hero to gank for at night time. The Queen of Pain can definitely find kills with rotations. And then it just comes down to, okay, do TNC perform this early game well enough that they built the advantage they need? We talked about, I think it's fair to say EG's teamfight is just vastly superior, and their late game I also like better, just because this is not the best Juggernaut late game, I think. Doesn't fare that great against Lycan, and especially not against Void. Hard lockdown is generally a very good way to go against Jugger, which might have been why TNC banned the Beastmasters.
This also feels like one of those games too when like the Juggernaut is for once alone without the Magnus buff up, without that big burst flash farm that can come from him. Like when you look at the drafting and like just the item progression for him now, do you still want to try and go for that carry Juggernaut? And what is the progression? Do you go for the farming items? Do I dare mention the Battle Fury Juggernaut and piss off everybody in the world?
I was thinking the same thing, if he should go farming oriented. But I don't think that's the way you farm with Jugger this patch. I think you go Mask of Madness, and then maybe you go into a Maelstrom. Like if you play very farm heavy, and then later on you can play that Mask of Madness.
They're going to try and contest that top bounty room, pick him up, throw him away with a telekinesis. But then the focus target, it is going to be down towards the Rubik. 1437's on the run. Is there enough pressure from Sam H and Tims? There isn't in time to kill off Crit, but the sticky napalm is there, making it difficult for Crit to escape. One more punch from Tims will do the work. But Sam H is taking significant amount of damage. First blood goes the way of EG. And as far as the bounty rune goes, TNC did at least claim 3, so it's a small reward for the first blood that they lost.
That first blood gold went to Crit, and then he died immediately after. So he actually didn't gain that much because he lost some of it. Yeah, that's a pretty even trade overall. Very curious to see how this mid lane plays out. I think this, Sumail is already starting to very good control. Help from Tims will be coming in. Sumail has successfully already created a double wave. This is a concept that we're going to be seeing a lot of this tournament. Since the mid lane was changed, so there's an extra creep, you can just dominate your opponent by pushing really hard and then having so many creeps under the tower that you can freely go and hit the opposing hero and limit his ability to get CS. Sumail right here with this double wave. You see they have to yield immediately. There's just way too many creeps coming in, and realistically Cuckoo is going to lose a lot of creeps here. Sumail plays it right. He did not on that one, or that one. But that one.
Underneath the tower does make it hard. Made it a little bit harder for Cuckoo as well when he's fighting inside the trees, but Tims, this is the reason why he's here. This is the reason why Night Stalker is a fantastic pickup. And a blink forward! Sumail may be in trouble. Cuckoo's going deep, but a little bit too deep. Underneath the tower, he'll burn the salve, but so does Sumail.
Yeah, that's a good howl by Arteezy as well as an insurance policy there, but nice aggression coming out from Cuckoo there, seeing an opportunity to counter it. I think this is how you want to try to play against Sumail. If you get the chance in mid, you want to try to pressure him, because else it goes the other way. Sumail is not that kind of passive mid player that'll just sit by and trade farm unless he has to with his hero matchup. So if this amount of pressure they're putting on the puck is very good for TNC here in the mids. Sumail has to play a bit passive now. He will get a second salve coming in, but they're successfully giving Cuckoo a good lane now, this rotation. The question is what it costs, because obviously that means the Night Stalker can't help top or bottom. Well, Universe is having a really good time against this Juggernaut.
Yeah, he's able to find a lot of levels. They were trying to do something about it, like the telekinesis grabbed into spin. That was after he time walked, so Universe did take considerable amounts of damage from that.
Mid lane.
Yeah, Cuckoo, X-Marks, Torrented, support's coming in, Tims is on his way, so is the Courier, and they turn around just punch into Zai. Cuckoo has to retreat back out again. He'll burn yet a second salve now for that mid.
This will be I think this is a good opening game to just see how the mid lane is going to be played this tournament. This lane is the biggest lane of Dota simply because of the extra creep now. There's going to be a lot of emphasis on...
Oh, Crit. Get out of here, Crit. Top lane, he's being fireflied up. Sticky napalm to 4 stacks. All that Firefly needs to do is get on top of him.
Oh, the
more,
Centaur!
But the Centaur Storm, it keeps Arteezy Zai controlled. Crit will die, and Sam H will get a solo kill, trying to contest the Dire pull on top lane.
Man, if he would have killed another hero in that Firefly burn, Zai dropped pretty low as well.
Samael is on the wrong side of the tracks. One range creep able to find him. Tims will be there. Quick blink forward. Cuckoo's going to find the kill. Samael finding himself stranded behind the tier 1 tower and getting punished on his way out.
This early game is looking very good for TNC, not just because of the kills, but also the amount of farm that the Juggernaut is getting is very nice. They've managed to create a pretty 50-50-ish situation in that mid lane. That's very important as we... The only hero who's suffering a bit as far as CS goes is Sam H, but he just found that kill, so he's also looking okay. And I think TNC's game plan now has been executed well enough that the first night time, now the Night Stalker's level 3, is going to be really dangerous. EG needs to be careful not to hemorrhage too many kills right now as...
So you've got at least that nice burst damage in the cripple, but what you don't have is the control. So Universe can time walk out. Puck will be able to illusionary or back out. And you've got different methods of escape available for Evil Genius's cause on the lanes. And then, of course, there's a Lycan.
Yeah.
You're not going to gank the Lycan.
The silence point for Tims is going to be very valuable. It looks like he's actually prioritizing that as well. He's like sticking around in the bottom area, getting levels together with the Rubik. We don't that often see supports just playing together. Okay, now he's going to leave. Waiting for a ward. This level 4 for NS would be very nice for Tim to get. He knows where Universe is now. Or he's going to try to mess with him a bit. Yep, okay.
So he can ward, he can leech. But there's no gank, and EG, you asked them not to hemorrhage at this point. They're hiding on the map from TNC. There are no options on the field for a gank to come in from Tims. And instead, Samael's trying to get aggressive in mid. The torrent! He'll be able to connect. He's got blink, but doesn't have the time. The stun from Zai followed up perfectly. Now Samael in trouble. Rotations from Tims as well as 1437. The telekinesis grind will hold him in position. So 1437 will find the kill. And while Queen of Pain is dead, the supports get the revenge.
That was a really nice setup there from EG though. Like kind of baited the Queen to not. You don't really want to blink there against the puck, and then Zai with a nice torrent. But TNC just as quick on the counterplay as well, coming in with those 2 supports. And at the end of the day, it's a fairly even trade. TP's being used obviously does matter, but for a hero like I actually don't think Night Stalker even TP'd. I think he just ran over there and read that that was the play that was coming in. 1437 assisted. Easily worth it for them. Are spawning. Top rune will to, I guess, Samael. No, actually, Zai is just going to take that one. Go. Good torrent in mid. Will set up his X. Good harass coming out of Cooper here.
Meanwhile, on bottom lane, they're trying to actually go onto the Faceless Void. I say trying, succeeding. Faceless Void will die underneath the tier 1 tower. So 1437's rotations on point. We're expecting that to come from him, but it's the fact that Tims is always there with him. The support combination of TNC rotation, you know, it actually feels very reminiscent of LGD International when 1437 used to play for them. Like that quick movement, the two of them just move together, and you just find the kills. Yeah, Zai's trapped between the tower. 1437's come in, and the Observer Ward sees all. The turret will be able to connect on 3, but Zai can't get out of here. Cuckoo, Sonic Wave commits. Samael jumps over the top. They'll have to trigger off the Shrine. Samael cannot battle against that level of regeneration. He does get the silence off, but Void is still there. Samael will get punished, trying to find the kill on the Queen of Pain. Even Raven TP'd in to help out in that one. And TNC now 7-2 on the board, 7 minutes in.
Very minor gold lead though. This isn't that bad for EG's lineup, as we talked about earlier. Oh, Universe is dead as well. I mean, it's starting to hurt a bit,
yeah.
But I think it's expectable that EG's lineup will fall a little bit behind on kills early on. It's about, do the right heroes get the gold? Are they getting their key items? I think the most worrying thing for EG is that Samael's game is going the way it is. He has 3 deaths, barely out farming the Queen of Pain here in terms of CS. Okay, actually like 10 ahead now. On net worth, they're fairly even when Puck definitely wants to be ahead.
They're on the hunt.
Oh.
They're coming in for Cuckoo. With the smoke gank maneuver, Zai can't get in range. They just came off the back of killing the Bat Rider on the top lane, so at least they're slowing down his initiation. That Blink Dagger that Sam H is desperately trying to reach.
Find crit now. Who finds who, though? I think Sam H is in a lot of trouble. He's going to die here, more than likely.
Yeah, you've already got that little hit coming in from the Fortune Zen. Tarn to follow up. Can't TP out this one anymore. And even with the Firefly, he's burning Zai down a fair chunk, but it doesn't matter when Arteezy can move over and Zai does find the kill on that Bat Rider once more.
This is very interesting. We've not really been looking too much at Lycan so far, but Arteezy is going for Necronomicon, and this build on Lycan has completely fallen out of favor as of late. We've mainly seen Lycans go for more of a combat-heavy build with just damage rather than this split-pushing approach or the mana burn, obviously, that Necronomicon gives. Most Lycans would be going for a build along the lines of Mask of Madness and Armlet, and then into a BKB. But wonder what makes him favor the Necro book here, if it's... if there's a specific reason he wants that mana burn, or that it is just the game plan. All right, guys, we're going to try to split a bit more here. This is not what I was expecting.
If they feel like
see in this game.
If they feel like they need to have more power in the team fights, Member will provide that. You get a little bit more push out of your lineup, and I suppose you get 2 more minions to give you your vision.
Mid lane, Samael.
Yeah, real issues. Cuckoo going down underneath the tier 1 tower. 1437 and Sam H are nearby, and Samael now. He's got an orb available for Telekinesis to pick up. They're trying to stack him up as high as possible before they battle this, but Samael trying to go against everybody. Starts his TP. Sam H was moving away. Samael will survive. Understanding no more stuns, no more control, and no more ways to kill him in time.
You really need to be on your A game when you're playing against Lycan when it comes to these moments. It's very deceptive sometimes what you think you can get away with and what you actually can. And I would say in general, the team that has the Lycan will have that little bit of extra advantage. Even if both teams are thinking about it, they obviously choose when to use that Howl. And it definitely gave Samael a little bit of an edge in that fight. Nobody died after the Queen. But you could tell TNC were like hesitating, can we kill him, can we not? And then the Howl comes in, and then you get to play it safe after. Got out.
And Cuckoo's just wishing he could pop Samael at the moment. The fact that he was able to just get the Shadow Strike off, the Scream as well. Samael doesn't have his Shrine available for another 190 seconds. An eternity for Rapak, who has to now burn all of his bottle charges. Meanwhile, everyone else gets to back to their farm.
This is going to be an attempt mid. I think he's going to pop Darkness into silence.
Perfect Scream, Sonic Wave, and Samael gets obliterated. Zai tried to help out. His Torrent was in a good position. He just wasn't ready for it in Viz Tims.
I think they might have not got the Howl off in time either. He died really fast. Tims didn't even cast the Darkness before silencing. He just put the silence in the nuke on him instantly, and then they blew him up with the Sonic. So, nice kill. TNC.
And TNC instantly turned this into something favorable. In fact, it may be even more favorable. Conquer the Firefly up. There's your lasso. They're thinking about clipping him, but they'll put him on the ground so Juggernaut can find out the Chronosphere from Universe. It'll catch his teammate. He's trying to buy time. Omnislash Chevelle from Juggernaut starts his spin and instantly goes into the TP. They want to bail out this one. Tims fly up. He doesn't actually have ability to TP out this one, and you'll have to jump up to battle him. It's Universe versus Tims. Who is king of the hill? Right now, Universe, he skipped more time or else he won't get it. Tims is the king of the hill, surviving. EG, they wanted something in return, but they'll lose their offlaner as well. All they wanted to do was stop the tier 1 tower from dying.
Well, they did that.
I suppose Samael can now kill him. There's consolation prize. Samael's able to get enough money to have his veil.
Damn, that is such a high value. 600 gold for it. 11 minutes in for Samael. Very good for him, but of course, yes, EG defended the tower, but they're going to lose a full tier 1 top because Arteezy rotated down and can't protect the lane. And this bottom tower is not long for life anyway, I think, for TNC. Their natural nighttime is kicking in 3 seconds. They know there's no Chronosphere for a full minute, and I think they're going to keep on the aggression. The question is if they're going to go bottom or focus more on the top area and try to get the tier 2. So far, so good. Taken 2 tier 1 towers, the mid tower especially at this point. Quite surprising. Samael doesn't generally lose his tower this fast. Has been put on a lot of pressure.
This is TNC's fast gameplay you're talking about. Raven, TP out of the bottom lane, getting attacked. I instantly want to push in the top tower. Every tier 1 tower has taken damage, and EG playing reactionary, defensive chronos. Like, we can get Samael a kill, but only after they've lost 2 heroes and Nice Dog clipped himself. Like, it seems like very, very hard work for EG, even though they do have the 2nd and 3rd highest net worth heroes on the map, the Juggernaut is still getting further and further ahead of this Lycan, and we're not feeling the influence yet of Arteezy, but also isn't that something we're expecting? Like, when you go for a Necro build, you're not going to say, hey, I'm going to really get in the mix of the fight straight away. They're going to find an opening. It's Universe, actually going to be false promised, and Sam H having run away. Time delays making it difficult, so is the Torrent and the Orb and the Rift, everything they've got, chip included. Thrown down towards the Batrider, and Arteezy gets himself involved. Necropooks, as well as Wolves, diving into the tower, looking for 1437, moving back to his tier 2 tower. The Dream Call catching out Tims. Night Stalker once more can die. Not worth as much money this time for the Sumail double kill. But while this is going on, Raven is taking the tier 2 tower up on top lane. EG are forced to fortify. And TNC are not going to lose anything apart from their Batrider and their Night Stalker here, for a full 5-man rotation from Evil Geniuses.
Yeah, this play from EG is worth it if they also get the tower, but they simply don't have the resources anymore. And like you said, they lose the tower. So in my book, this is still good for TNC, what just happened. Overall, losing a couple of heroes is obviously not ideal, but when you're trading 2 heroes to defend and get a tower at the same time, I like that trade. Good for them. You're right about the Lycan. Like, it's hard for him to get very involved with this Necronomicon build, and at the same time, he doesn't farm as fast as if he had another build. I was wondering if we were going to see him max the Wolves early just because of this vision, but he actually doesn't have them maxed until now. He went for a 2-2-4 build, and just now took the 2. And I think EG are identifying that the problem is they don't have as much information as they would like. And they picked Lycan in part for that information, but now it's finally going to start flowing in.
Here comes TNC once more. The Dire will scan up, and, well, at least one does ping as the Juggernaut going into the Dire scan.
Very good read.
Those TNCs a little bit further to the north who scanned up right on top of the farming position, but they were 5 seconds too late. But now you can see the pressure applying from TNC. They've taken all the towers on the top lane outside of the base of EG. They turn their attention to the bot lane. Observer Ward is down. The vision game is just perfect for TNC. You're flagging it during the drafting phase that EG were going to have troubles with this.
Yep. Looks like this tower will fall and be denied, at least this time, by EG. So, still a very close game right now. No major advantage apart from towers. If you look at the gold advantage that TNC have, if they lose the amount of towers that they've claimed, they're actually behind on gold. So there's like unclaimed gold on the map for EG back, but they need to set up that team fight that allows them to get this bottom tower, and it seems pretty difficult for them right now. Always scary to go into this kind of Night Stalker lineup at this time.
Especially now the Batrider has a Blink Dagger.
Yep.
With his Blink up,
now.
I don't think they actually know about it. I'm not certain if he came in range of either of the Dire Observer Wards. But you can see them trying to prepare. In fact, yep, there you go. The smoke out of range of both of the Dire Obs, and they're coming for a gank. But what do they see? Right now, Crit's on a warding mission.
See Sumail.
Yeah, they saw Sumail in mid. They may even get lucky and get the right timing to pick off the courier. Here comes Sam H. Orb already used by Sumail, trying to use it to push the lane out. But now he doesn't have it. Silenced up, controlled up. The spin damage combining with the silence, Puck will pop. And that is a nice free to end. Raven gets more money. And Sumail having more issues with item progression.
Cost them their tower, though. If you make the smoke movement and you target the Puck, and they EG know that, okay, in order to kill this Puck, you're going to need to bring 2 or 3 heroes, and they instantly turn it into an advantageous play for them getting the tower bottom. So I think TNC originally with that smoke weren't intending on going for Puck, but maybe trying to wrap around the bottom push that they felt like EG were going to apply. And then they got tempted to go for Puck kill, I want to say. Grab that core. And maybe it was still for the better. Maybe this bottom fight wouldn't have that well.
Yeah, and they got space for farm time too. Cuckoo has now finished up his Veil of Discord. He was farming up the top lane that entire time. Raven was having the time of his life as well. So yeah, you lose the tier 1 tower, but I'm still wondering, like, this is a lot more efficient timing. You're talking like unclaimed gold on the map. Right now with EG, every time they 5-man it up, all that unclaimed gold, the distance won't be as much once EG do claim it in network.
So what big items do we have coming in? The Juggernaut finished his Manta style. Very good timing here from Raven. Queen of Pain Veil, as you mentioned.
Level 3 book is up.
It's getting a Void Stone, so I'm guessing we'll see might be just a Yules next against the Puck Silence. Hey, also nice against Xmark, correctly. And on the EG side, Necro 3 is done. puck with Blink Veil. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So no really big new items, I would say, apart from that Manta style for Jugger, which makes a huge difference in this game because you can get out of puck silence now and guarantee a spin, more or less. Right, so
they want to go.
Let's go Roche.
There is no observer ward around here. Apart from the Dire side, they have one sitting in front of the pit, but TNC actually have no vision around Roshan. They moved most of their wards. In fact, they've just got that one defensive ward inside their own jungle, but their aggressive vision has actually disappeared. They lost their observer ward on bottom lane. It timed out. So right now, TNC, for all the vision game we were praising them for, there's a small hole. They've only just put the obs down, but it's too late. EG is already in the pit, taking Roshan, and unless Tim takes to the skies at the moment, they won't realize it in time. In fact, it's already too late. EG, they have Roshan.
This is a very good play call from them. All right, the moment it turns to day, we're just going to go in and use our Necro Book and use our Lycan to take this Roche. TNC would have contested that if they knew. I'm pretty sure they would have tried to mess with them with the Bat Rider and the Jugger and the Queen, even if Night Stalker's weak.
They checked too late. Like, the Manta Illusions were going up from the Juggernaut as well. But yeah, just 5-10 seconds behind EG.
Yep. This gives EG a nice little power play here with the Lycan Aegis. Not the best Aegis carrier as such, but...
Oh, they just smoked on the Dire Obs.
Still an advantage.
4-man smoke on Dire Obs. Does EG do anything about this apart from evade?
Try to take the fight. If they have the Aegis to play with, so they could bait in the Arteezy Lycan and try to get a team fight around. That looks like exactly what they're going to do.
Yeah, and there's your Observer Ward. So 1437 will see him. They do, however, see the rest of the heroes behind for the Dream Call. Catching 1437. Raven, he's out. They're going to sacrifice the Rubik here. They do not want this fight. But they did get some aggressive wards down. Raven, trouble. There's a wolf on his tail at the moment. Trying to body block up. And Arteezy, he does it perfectly. Blocked up one avenue. Raven doesn't even think he can get through the second. And he will be brought down. A huge kill on the Juggernaut. And Evil Geniuses lose absolutely nothing. And they may even get a little bit more. I say that they just lost the courier. Small value lost.
That's the Aegis right there. You could see the mental game that happened when that smoke broke. TNC move up, they see the Lycan with the ward they drop down, and they're like, we can't go on this guy. And then they just want to disengage, but the mobility of EG's heroes able to net them. 2 nice kills there, especially the one on Juggernaut. Very important kill. Slow him down as he was having a great game so far. Steph. And EG can maybe turn some pushing. They're looking to group up here in mid. Wolves already in 3 seconds to be resummoned. The Necrobook's still a bit away, but I don't think TNC want to fight this.
There's no Sonic Wave. Like, she used it to kill off the courier.
So it's nighttime with Howl. They're not going to kill this Lycan fight.
Yeah, all 1437 can do is try and push him back. It's supposed 1437 got Howl. It's not a bad buff up.
It's actually a very good steal when you have Night Stalker in your team. It's one of the best spells that Rubik can have this game.
Right now, EG, they don't seem to be too dissuaded by the fact he's got it. They take the tier 1 tower in mid. They're rotating as a full group to bottom. Once again, TNC is doing this split kind of pressure. Back up towards top lane. Sam8 is up here. Trying to find that farm to get him towards his BKB. Rena Payne still working on the Yule Scepter. 120 gold, 110 gold away now. And Raven will have to take up the mid. Still trying to work on his Maelstrom. But this is a lot of heroes to commit for a long time from EG. Is this bottom tier 2 tower really worth it? You send Sumail now up to the top lane to defend. Are they still okay with this trade-off when you've got the Aegis the Immortal? Is it more of that we want to fight, so we're going to force them into it?
I think it's more of a feeling of necessity that if they start splitting up, they're playing into TNC's lineup with this Bat Rider, Queen of Pain, Night Stalker that are innately a lot better at skirmishing than team fighting. So EG are just willing to sacrifice a little bit of farming efficiency to not give away kills. And at the end of the day, should be probably getting this bottom tier 2 tower, or maybe not.
They're pressuring Arteezy. They're only pressuring him though. There's no real attack because they know that's pointless, right? You go onto Arteezy, he's either got Aegis or he's going to get false promised.
Yeah, he's not going to die.
Yeah. So all you can do is just dissuade them, slow down the lane, continue to add pressure up on top lane, which is what Raven is doing. He's back in to pressuring that top lane to make EG wonder, like, what happens if we keep this going? A tier 2 for tier 3 tower damage? Is that worth it for them? 2-2, amplifies up Arteezy once more, blinks away. Starts to scream. It's Howl on Howl. There goes your Sonic Wave committal as well from Cuckoo. With the scream, you might be able to pick up at least a Necro box. So they've lost their push, and it's Sumail on top lane, chasing after Raven, who's already starting his spin TP out. So they hold their tier 2 tower on bottom lane TNC and do some chip damage to the tier 3 tower on top.
I really like that Sonic Wave cast. I think most players wouldn't have gone for that, but he identified that if he casts all his spells in succession there, he kills off the Wolves and the Necro Book, and that's probably going to stop EG's... And it did, because they're pressuring top at the same time. That Sonic Wave might have looked like a waste, but it defended a tower and it forced TPs to pop, so... Play from Coop. Read on the situation. Pipe finished now on Night Stalker. Very nice item. This is a build you're going to be seeing more in this tournament. Night Stalkers used to go for Aghanim Scepter almost exclusively, but teams have identified now that it might be a bit of overkill on vision. Of course it's nice to have the vision, but you already have vision advantage just by it being nighttime, and then instead you can have a better team fighting impact. The problem with Axe is that you give vision and that's it. Now he's giving them team fight presence by being able to pipe up the team, having magic resistant aura, and just contributing that way. You're generally going to see this build or Solar Press.
And he's doing both.
Item, and sometimes even both, yeah. And very, very standard. Could have maybe considered a Halberd this game. There's two good targets, both the Lycan and the Void. Void right now doesn't matter too much. Yeah, I like this choice of items a lot. I think the Pipe Burst is the best choice.
Judging by the speed of this game, TNC, the more towns they take, the more these fights continue, the more money they're going to get. They're looking for Raven. Universe going to Chronosphere him up. Samate nearby. Blink Lasso just controlling on Sumail. Torrent still doing its work. Raven into the Omni Slash. The Creep Wave soaks up a fair amount of the jumps, however, and Sumail keeping hot on his tail. So is Arteezy. You'll severing him up, and when Raven hits the ground, torrented up, he will fall. Samage also in a world of hurt, getting time locked over in the tree lines, trying to juke it out. He's lost his Firefly. He needs to blink away, but the urn, he jukes it! He went down into the small little corner on the left, moves down, can blink away, actually not even blinking, just goes for the raw TP out to safety. They will still lose the Juggernaut, but TNC, it could have been a lot worse for them.
That was really nice damage to get out. The question is if this push was like this movement from TNC was likely to succeed. I think at this point they need to realize that these fights are not gonna go their way if they set them up like this. They need to get the jump. If the first engagement fight was this, where they get the jump on the Juggernaut with a Chrono, it's really difficult for TNC to come back in the fight. They did a lot of good countermeasures. Samage jumped in on the puck and locked him down. They even stole Howl and used it with Rubik, I believe. But still, it wasn't enough.
Universe. Hard to chase him when you've actually got that sticky napalm on him too.
Tims needs to be careful with this gem. It's getting max rooted here. They're going to chase him down. If Sumail finds him here, this is really big.
He can't get close enough. Sam H is also playing guard duty.
Yeah, Tims has to be really...
And both these teams are desperately trying to scramble for boards. That one dire obs. Can't believe there's actually gone full duration with the Jam of True Sight on the Night Stalker. They're sitting in mid lane.
It's not a place that Night Stalker crosses too often. Generally going to be playing around the two sides of the map and inside the jungle to, you know, control bounty runes, try to find the aggressive wards on the hills and whatnot. So sometimes these quote-unquote obvious mid wards can actually work very well against a hero who is looking for the more, you know, intricate spots. And as you said, EG do get full duration on it. Now it's expiring though, so they're actually completely blind on the map, except for the creep. And that becomes increasingly important right now. This is danger time.
And so we actually look to see where Crypt puts down the top board. Where does EG feel they need to see more than anywhere else? They've only got the one available at the moment.
I think the Roshan is priority right now.
Well, he is back up and running. With the Assault Cuirass freshly onto Arteezy. They have a lot of armor, a lot of tank, a lot of team fight, which they want to push with.
Yeah.
But having the insurance of the Aegis lets you push harder.
This is a very nice luxury to have by playing together with Oracle. I think if Arteezy was not with Oracle, he might have considered a BKB as a secondary item, but he feels like he has enough protection from his lineup that he can go straight in for a very aggressive damage item. And of course the defensive, it's not strictly aggressive. He didn't go Deso, but it's a nice hybrid item, let's call it that here, that gives him really powerful stats in the fight.
A tier 3 tower's taking damage again for Evil Geniuses, now down to 50% of his HP. This is that pressure from TNC. So I'm wondering, like, just how hard does EG and how fast does EG have to push in order to stop this continuously happening from TNC?
They need to get an Aegis. With the next Aegis, they can go high ground. And EG push fast. Their lineup is faster than AC Necro go. If they successfully find a key pick here into Roche, we're looking at maybe next daytime that they will try to claim Elena Barracks.
Well, they're looking for the pick. Smoked up, moving through mid. Best target right now is Cuckoo grabbing that 28-minute rune. He's just farming up. They need the control, and there's your blink into a Chronosphere. It's perfectly done from Universe. Support on the way. Tim's going to be nearby, but they've already lost the Queen of Pain. Tim's will start his TP out, and they're going for Roshan. They burnt Necro books as well as Wolves, so they really want to make the most out of this. They're going in for Roshan. Look at that haste room from Samael.
TNC just going to give this away.
Samael's coming up for 1437.
Yep.
1437 is trying to add pressure towards the tower. Okay, now Samael's actually keeping back. Sam H, 5 flying over, blinks in. Lasso going to grab Universe. Remember, they've got no Chronosphere to work with. Underneath Roshan, who's already down to 1/5 of his HP. Support will arrive. Raven blinks in. He was almost looking to steal off Roshan. They had to trigger off the pipe. What'd you end up getting stolen? Okay, it's just going to be ripped for the moment, but 1437 hit by the torrent with the X to start it off. That'll do the work. They're looking for more Tims. Dream called up. Omnislash nicely hitting on almost all the heroes from EG, but the damage being distributed perfectly, meaning the Crit finds himself a double kill. And so far, TNC haven't found anything yet. Crit actually gets himself a triple kill, throwing out the nukes. They're trying to lock down Cuckoo. He got X'd. He'll quickly set her up, however. Dispelling it off means he doesn't get hit by the torrent combination. Roshan is still alive, but EG, they will shrine up and go in once more.
That's a very big win for them. Very, very big win. They got the Queen buyback. They lost no heroes, right? They didn't have a single casualty. Yep. Buyback from Night Stalker. Did they steal his gem too?
They have the Gem of True Sight over on Crit now.
Yeah, so they stole the gem as well. This is like more or less the biggest win you could imagine. I thought TNC were going to get a good fight out of this when they bought back the Queen so late because the Necro book was expiring. EG had been using a couple of cooldowns, but they still held together very nicely there. The problem that TNC are facing right now is that they just don't have enough damage. They're not killing the heroes. They're playing into Howl, Mech, and False Promise. And you see this Omnislash jumping, and he's getting some nice split damage out here, but immediately has to play defensively, goes into the spin, scared of the Ghost Ship, and this fight is already over at this point. No one from EG is even faced. They also have the Ghost Ship. Like, there's just so much sustain that TNC have to get this jump where Batrider lassos and Juggernaut comes in at the same time. And what started it all off was in that Roche pit. They blink lasso the Void, and the immediate X counterplay from Zai just makes that fight a walk in the park.
So there's the question. Maybe the answer to why EG are always grouped up the way they are. They understand that how TNC do the fights is perfectly counted when they are there as 4 as 5. Yep. TNC want these individual pickoffs. And the only person who seems to be a little bit further out of position is Samael. But he's a Puck with a Yule Scepter. He's got a lot of get-out-of-jail-free cards as this Puck.
He's going to be almost impossible for them to get the Lincoln. Batrider didn't go Force Staff. He feels like he has to go Link into straight BKB. So Samael with this Lincoln's in about 1,000 gold will
Zai
very difficult to deal with.
Looking for a kill right now. They're going to put down the sentry board 1437. He actually did a defensive torrent, but he'll ends up losing his life. So there's the pickoff EG was looking for. They got Aegis Immortal. They want to push in. And the line is being done. Arteezy will go through the bottom lane and attack the tier 3 tower while the rest of EG are assaulting the tier 2. And this time around, TNC's push on the top lane is not adding enough pressure. Raven is on his way up. They can soak up the wave pretty quickly here if they want to. And maybe they can actually force EG into a bad trade-off position. But you've still got Necro books. Okay, everyone's coming back. And they may look for bottom. The lasso, Sam H, he caught out Arteezy. They've got the Yules up now on Puck, breaking him free of any kind of extra control. Tim's still in the neighborhood. Arteezy gonna try and fight this one. Crit is nearby. The Dream Coil, it catches 3 at the moment. BKB already expended from the Batrider. Welcome to your 10-second effectiveness of the BKB. It ends up with your Night Stalker dying and you not killing the Lycan. In fact, Samael going back in once more. Not being controlled. But EG bailing out of a lot of those TPs that stop TNC from pressuring further.
EG are building a really big advantage at this point. This attempted split push from TNC top, they actually had a very good read on it. They were starting to hit the tower, and they got out of there just in time before Universe blinked in for the Chronosphere. If that Chrono connects, this could have been a complete disaster. Instead, it's like a minor inconvenience. Doing their Night Stalker, they obviously lost nothing on their bottom tower at the very least, but still the map just feels less and less available to TNC. Now 8,000 behind on the gold. The key items coming out now. Finally, there's a Shiva's Guard here in the Queen of Pain, but the problem is you just got this feeling that she's still going to be very hesitant to go in. There's just so much damage and control and sustainability in EG's lineup.
She's trying to go on to Zai. X marks the spot. You still got the screen, the Sonic Wave available. Zai gonna let the ship fly, but you also have to protect the Queen of Pain, but cannot protect her from the Chronosphere. All damage. You got the Rift to follow up as well. Silence cannot blink away, and that is 86 seconds now without the Queen of Pain. And EG still itching for a push. They got the Aegis Immortal available for another minute and probably 20 seconds. So decent amount of time for EG to get the job done.
This is Elena Barracks if TNC can't get anyone's TP home fast enough. Raven's going to try through the mid lane, but he needs to chew through an entire tier 2. And so do EG top, but they're a little bit faster than this Juggernaut, let's put it that way. So they're already going to reach the base now. 1 full minute to play with.
They didn't even burn Necros,
and they know
Wolves,
there's no
or Howl. Like, all of these things are available right now for Evil Geniuses. TZ will burn all 3 of them in one big go, and that tier 3 tower, it doesn't stand a chance. Universe goes in deeper. Samage again has to defensively BKB the Chronosphere. Does split up the fight a little bit more. The Dream Call holding in TNC, so TZ just does a lap around the Chronosphere to come in for the extra kill. There's a hit onto the Bat Rider, and TNC, they've lost control of this game now. Evil Geniuses taking the top racks, but what do they get in return here, TNC? You bought back on the Bat Rider, you're looking for a kill. At least Tim doesn't get hit by the boat, but they jump in once more. Blink the time dilation. You're going to get hit once more by the Torrent. And TNC, they've lost too many heroes. That one pickup on the Queen of Pain has now just avalanched into this EG advantage.
Yeah, they can probably claim Megas here. They didn't lose their Aegis or their Cheese, I believe, in that exchange. No, they still have both.
Yep.
Just going to head straight down to bottom. And the key piece of information for EG here is that they know Queen... Oh, wait a second, they're going to go in.
Oh, this is really problematic. Maybe with the Omni Slash, Universe can time walk off so much of the damage. Zai will go down. But the Bat Rider, he caused a lot of confusion. The issue is Raven. Manta, break free of the silence. They still need to kill off Arteezy. He's in dog form. You'll set for him up. Cuckoo wants more control. They got the screen. 1437. He's got nothing to really give. The blink forward. You can time walk into the Fade Bolt, reduce that damage, but Universe, now the cheese gets triggered, Sumail's back into the fight. The Dream Call will control him. TNC will push in the envelope, but right now, EG are delivering the death letter to their families. TNC, they've lost 2 lanes of rags, and the third will be pending in a couple of minutes when EG's ready to push once more.
That's how fast the game can almost end when you get the right kill at the right time. EG with that kill on Queen was so big because it's not just that they're killing a key core, but it's that they know for sure that she doesn't have buyback based on when she bought back for the Roshan fight. They still have the Aegis. If Queen buys back in that Rosh fight right before they claim the Aegis, you know for sure that I still have Aegis, so there's no way she has buyback. Unless you've timed it perfectly, then you obviously know exactly.
Oh, Chrono! Universe, he got him! The Torrent from Zai, they knew exactly where Raven was. Just trying to relieve a little bit of the pressure by pushing out mid, and then the spin TP. Normally, you're pretty good as a Juggernaut to get out of that one, but TNC, they realize it's over. GG, they've lost their Juggernaut. They still have no Queen of Pain. And Evil Geniuses, thank you, Sumail, for deleting all of your items and probably destroying everyone's fantasy points.
Does that matter? I don't think it matters.
I actually don't know. Either way, Evil Geniuses, a solid victory, even though TNC definitely showed their early game prowess. Words. Pro and West.
Yeah, it just got to this point where it got too difficult. TNC played their strength early on, as you mentioned, but the coordination and team fight of EG's lineup just became too difficult to fight into. And when they found those couple of key moments that gave them the Roshans and just a couple of good team fights, I feel like TNC's lineup just ends up being too weak. And they played against the clock, and they lost.
Well, we'll have ourselves a quick break. We're coming back. There's so much more Dota still going on. So game 2 of this 2-game series, TNC versus Evil Genius, is our first series of the TI group stage here on Stream 1. We'll be back after the break. It is time for Game 2 of TNC versus Evil Geniuses, the first round here on Stream 1. Of course, you can check out all the other wonderful games that are currently going on. Liquid versus IGV on Stream 2, LGD versus Fnatic on Stream 3, and Team Secret going up against Empire on Stream 4. So all the Dota your heart could possibly desire. My desire is to cast with Synderen. Luckily, my heart desire has been granted. Hi, Sind. Welcome back.
You got lucky.
Yeah, I did. I got lucky.
You got
yeah.
only you.
How do you want to turn that one around?
Nah,
All right.
I got nothing.
Well, would you believe it? Banned out in the first phase by EG. They are going to take out the Night Stalker. All the other bans look to be pretty much the same as Game 1, with the IOES and Nyx being removed.
Yep. NS was Sand King last game. The rest is identical. And it's also the same team with the first pick. EG had the first pick last time around and grabbed the puck. It will happen again. And here comes the battle. I wouldn't be surprised to see an Oracle, but this time the difference is that TNC have already secured themselves that Lasso initiation, where you go into Lasso instant global. And then neither Kunkka nor an Oracle will be able to save that target. So, interesting approach from TNC here. They just felt like in the first game that they couldn't fight, probably.
Yeah.
And this time they want to make sure that team fighting will not be a problem. And Silencer is one of those heroes. At least the ability to take a fight. And it's about whether you have the damage. That, but he brings a lot of control.
First phase drafting as well avoids what happened in Game 1. Banned out in the second phase, the Silencer. It seems that EG will still persevere. They're going to go for the Oracle second pickup to go with the puck. So they're going to stick to their guns of Game 1.
Yep. And there's the instant Huskar ban. This time we might see TNC not ban the Veno. Last time they banned Veno first and then Huskar, and this time they're going the other way around. So this could mean that the Veno will be let through, and that they have other plans this time. Ban. I feel like the Lycan was actually a very big problem for them in the first game, but they also had Night Stalker. This time he won't have the Howl advantage at night. Perhaps it is not necessary. There might be other threats for them to solve. Really annoying in the first game for them.
It kind of got annoying once the mid game kicked in. Like once EG actually had their team fight online, then it seemed like the Kunkka was a lot more useful. But in the early stages, it was the Rubik and Night Stalker show. They were everywhere. They were all over everything. So yeah, I'm wondering if TNC give as much respect to that, or if they continue to try and play this fast-paced style of game. Can you do that with a Silencer though? Like, does Silencer drag you into a certain rhythm of game for TNC?
You can compensate for his weakness. I mean, in a way, if he's going to be played by 1437, he was a Rubik last game, and I think yes, he helped with a couple of ganks early, but wasn't like very integral to the way they took fights and the way they ganked. If they picked a similar style of lineup with Silencer instead of Rubik, I think it totally works. This what each year, but they're actually targeting Tim's pretty damn hard on their bans. 3 in a row so far.
Stop his rotation, secure the laning phase, secure the mid game win.
So Lycan ban.
Well, I suppose that means Arteezy gets to play something new. Diversity rating now massively high. 2 different heroes in 2 games. Sample size. Wow. It's great.
Good for people who voted on Arteezy as most. Was that only team or was it player?
Oh, you had a player as well.
Player who plays the most different heroes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think I picked Arteezy, and I think I'm going to be right in not picking. So far, he's going to be tied for first. Okay. So far, he's tied for first. So.
Yeah, I picked Samael. No.
It could still be a
universe puck.
It could be. There's a TA ban again, very similar to last game. They did ban the Earth Spirit this time around, however, because Night Stalker was out. I can't remember what the third ban was of the last game from EG. Overall, you've got like the same feeling of flow in this draft. Minor adaptations, but not like big overhaul from either team so far. I think TNC won't go Jugger this game. It felt like in that last game that he just couldn't do what they wanted the hero to do. Maybe they can make it work now that they have the Silencer. We'll see. Here comes the Sand King that EG banned in the first game. So this is plan C or D for TNC after all of Tim's heroes got banned.
I like how you like it's plan C or D, but like you still like SK was meant to be one of the most contested heroes. Most people in their predictions had SK as the most picked hero. Coming into this tournament. I believe you're actually one of them.
Yes, I did. A lot of people picked Shaker as the most picked hero. I think he's going to be banned too much though. So far, sample size for this series is that is the case. I'm guessing in 1 or 2 of the other games that are running right now, there might have been a single Shaker pick, but the reason that hero is so powerful is its ability to play multiple lanes, multiple roles. Offlane, mid, and roaming is a possibility. Just controlling that offlane, making sure you get experience, being annoying, having great team fight, and a pretty good laner in one. Jaker actually has a lot of good matchups. Yeah, we're not going to be seeing that hero.
He'll be banned as much as I.
More or less.
I think I had 9 Stalker as my.
That could happen. He's also going to get banned a lot, though, I think.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can't ban everything. Now we already have like 3 or 4 heroes that will be banned every game. That's not really how it works.
AG's going to approach this now with their Weaver pickup.
Interesting. Okay, so this is not a very common time to pick Weaver, and I think EG are going Drow. And the reason for that is, if you pick Weaver here and it's a core hero, it's strange to pick it into this lineup that isn't actually particularly bad against Weaver. Lasso is pretty good. Sand King's Stun is more or less instant against the Weaver. You want lockdown and burst damage. Global Silence is good. So if EG goes the route of playing a core Weaver here, it's nice in lane against Batrider, which frees up Oracle, but Oracle is not the kind of support that wants to rotate very much anyway. He kind of wants to play that safe lane and just pull and get levels. So maybe this is a Zai Weaver with Drow Aura, or they put it mid or off lane for either Sumail or Universe and grab the Drow fourth. It has to be something that TNC are thinking. Triple range for EG, classic stuff, and could be Drow game.
Yeah. The more and more you look at it, yeah. But this is what we're looking for, right? In most of the drafts, especially in day 1 of TI, when you're still uncertain how the meta's going to go, a draft which you just cannot read. Like, you start off with exactly what you had before, it's the Orange Park, but now technically you do still have still 2 saves. If you can get around the Silence of Silencer, you've still got the False Promise, you've still got Weaver's Time Lapse, you've got higher maneuverability from both Weaver as well as Puck. Hard to lock down heroes, but TNC also has some really good lockdown. So it's from both sides, both teams have really good synergy and counter against each other. It's all about execution.
And I think TNC are digging into their reserve pool a lot here because they want to figure out what they do in case it's a Drow. And I think they might be picking ahead.
It's a Tinker.
Tinker?
Of course it is. This is TNC. Of course it's a Tinker for Cuckoo.
It's probably with the thought in mind that, okay, if they go Drow, we want to be able to hold our towers. Tinker is a pretty good hero against Drow in the sense that you have March of the Machines. Drow lineups want to go together and push towers. There you go. And then you can put March of the Machines. You have the laser. G's lineup doesn't have the best catch for him. You have the Puck that can maybe find Tinker, possibly get caught off guard by a swarm. But apart from that, not the easiest kill. Now, what TNC desperately need is some sort of physical damage because they have zilch right now, and there has to be something that allows them to still get in on this Drow. I mean, it's one thing that you can stall it, but you need to kill Drow. You can't just let her stand there and I'm just going to march with the machines for 3 minutes and they're not taking the tower. Not how it works.
Well, do you get some of the older counters? Do we look at Spec as one of the other...
Spectre is an option.
Other one counters, you can go to Lifestealer to work with the SK.
Could be a choice. You could look toward something like Phantom Assassin as well. I don't know how much Raven plays that. I think Phantom Lancer has a place in this game as well. A hero that Drow simply can't deal with. You jump in with all the illusions and she can't kill them. The only really good AoE damage they have is the Puck, which is pretty good, but the PL will outscale it eventually. And it's a lot less greedy of a pick than Spectre in my book, where you have stronger laning presence, you are able to join fights more frequently and earlier. Haunt got nerfed really hard. There's actually a PL ban from EG, so they were expecting that, and will last pick the Mirana for more than likely Sumail with this Drow aura. This also means that EG have no frontline whatsoever in their Drow lineup, and that sometimes works, sometimes doesn't. Maybe they can get away with it because they have Oracle to protect with, but there is the Silencer. I'm actually not that sure for EG because of this Mirana pick. Frontlining is not going to be easy when you're playing into Global and a Batrider.
But if you get that 5-second arrow, that's why I'm wondering if this is actually a Zai Mirana. Rotate with him and then let the Puck for Sumail go mid, let the Weaver go off lane.
Universe offlane Weaver?
Yeah, Universe offlane Weaver.
Yeah, could be.
Because who's really going to be controlling him properly? The SK closing distance on Weaver, as long as you can keep the vision up, you should be fine. TNC, we're going to see the last piece of that puzzle, and it is actually the Phantom Assassin you mentioned. Someone had to close the distance between the Throat Ranger and bring the heavy amounts of physical damage, and now they've got that. Damn, Cuckoo set looks amazing.
The Tinker?
Yeah.
I like the PA.
It looks like Robocop, but Tinker. Okay, maybe Gadget.
I like this. I like this PA set as well. His outfits are pretty cool. And then for some reason, Drow has purple leaf the shoulders.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that. What is that?
I don't know.
That doesn't seem right. It's like she just stole. Well, you know, like a big thing about like Drow Ranger's items. I mean, she steals everything that.
Yeah.
Because she just picks up all the crap off the ground.
Pat in the woods.
Hey, would you want to wear something like that?
No.
Probably someone just got and said, this is a fashion crisis, throws it to the ground. Drow Ranger's like, I'm a fashion crisis, I'll take this.
Actually, it does look like a fashion crisis. This is like a bit all over the place. Okay, let's talk about the game, though.
Yeah,
so I think in this game I favor TNC a lot more relative to last game. I don't know if they're favorites on this draft-wise, but I like their chances better just because of the way their lineup matches up against EG's and the fact that they don't have a front line. If TNC's lanes go well and they have these key items come out, the Batrider, Blink Dagger, and both PA and Tinker have farm, I actually think EG are going to lose this one late game. I think the Radiant lineup is extremely powerful at team fighting this time. They solved that problem by having both the Sand King and the Silencer. They have good lanes, and EG's lineup is very one-dimensional, I want to say.
You're not going back for this, are you? Is he going to try and deward? He's going to deward the Sentry Ward and keep his Observer Ward alive. They're going to spend another 100 gold on this to try and stop the block.
Very nice.
And that started up nicely from 1437. He knew exactly, but he couldn't attack high ground. He didn't see up the hill, so he had to walk all the way around to attack it. I was going to say, man, that's a really great win for TNC. Now they can open up their pull. And now your off lane would be more scared, but...
I think what TNC should do is they give Raven this rune. He buys a sentry immediately.
How about Tims and Sam H can just kill off Arteezy?
Oh, that's another way of getting gold, I guess.
Yeah, Arteezy. You try and turn around when he's gone for he's already gone for the precision aura. That's going to happen when you're running a 5-range lineup.
Yeah, this rune is TNC's. I think they're gonna get 3.
Yeah. No, Crit's going to try and contest it as well.
He is going to regret that. Oh, Tims.
He didn't cut through. He ran around, and now, well, where's your Burrow Strike? It's going to be 3 runes again to TNC. That's how last game started, but this time around, First Blood will go the way of TNC, okay, and there's nothing Arteezy can do about it.
He held the stun the whole time and used it as a finishing move when they didn't even need it. That's pretty funny. All right, anyway.
Guaranteed, man. There's no KSing in a team game.
Why not? Why not get the kill on the Sand King? I mean, I think it's arguably better to have it on the Sand King so he gets fast tranquils.
Oh, Zai, he found the courier. They tried to send it around the corner. Tim's Burrow Strike to try and cancel the attack. But it's the salve that was moving in towards middle lane for Cuckoo. He wanted to be aggressive against Sumail, and now they both have exactly the same thing. They're both double stacking. Cuckoo's running the Ring of Rosie, and Sumail's keeping the creep wave closer on his side.
Yeah. The players are going to try to avoid what we saw in the last game when I mentioned the double waving. Want to prevent that from happening. So you're going to run in these like weird circles to not get completely outnumbered on creeps. Sumail has still managed to set up somewhat of a like 1.5 wave here. And Cuckoo will be pushed into his tower, but this is not too bad. Like, this is definitely manageable for the Tinker.
Zion 1437 beating the crap out of each other. Raven would love to attack into him, but a quick Shikuchi away, having that early Blightstone makes Zion's harassment quite difficult. Not to mention he also blocked up the pull that 1437 was attempting.
Did you just say Shuki?
No.
Good.
No. I hope not.
No, you didn't. I just remembered. You had like this full year where that spell was called Shuki.
You're not allowed to actually start putting those thoughts in my head. You're meant to help me, Cinder, and not give me bad ticks for TI. Like, that's the worst thing ever.
Here comes Shuki.
Oh, Shikuchi, damn it.
Oh, nice fast dagger there from Raven. Will break the clarity of Zai. So far, so good for the laning for EG, though. They're getting very good CS on both the Drow and the Puck. Mid lane is a bit contested once again. Tims is securing Cuckoo a good start on the Tinker. And as it looks right now with Cuckoo's skill build, he is doing the aggressive killing route with 2 in laser and 1 in missile. No marches just yet. Might still see him go the march route after this, just having a bit of an early harassment build in lane. But it's very telling. His next skill points will be very telling for TNC's read on how to play this game, because I think both builds in this game are viable. One is, we think we're going to get pushed by Drow, I'm going to get March. And the other one is, we think we're going to be better at fighting than them early on, and we can just kill them before they take our towers if we max our nukes. I'm going to see what he chooses to go for. Top rune, crits.
Yeah, Crit's on the run from Tims. Meanwhile, Samael as well as Zaya teaming up on Cuckoo, and they've got the damage. It's so much negative armor when you've got the Swarm plus the Blightstone.
Swarm, Blightstone, Drow Aura, and Tinker has no defensive play except lasering a hero. That's a pretty big problem in this game when you have these two mobile ranged heroes for the Dire in the mid lane that like to just be able to at least get away somehow. Has to rely on protection from his teammate, and Tims was not in the right position to save him.
I still want to flag a bigger issue. It's the fact that Universe once again is having a great offlane. Zai, with the pulling, completely messed up the equilibrium, but it's that bonus damage that he's had early on has allowed him to go 18-5. He's got more CS than Arteezy has managed to achieve. And this is against like the safe lane PA, who's now 13 for 0. You managed to catch up a little bit underneath the tower. And, well, okay, there goes Zeiss. They did do something about him now. Cuckoo has the nukes, and Tim's had the Burrow Strike. Yep.
Weaver has to be a little bit careful in the mid lane. The amount of burst damage that the Radiant has in there is really high. But this is something we've seen a lot of times from EG. They put Universe off lane.
No, that's not going to work out. Not so there.
They put Universe off lane on this puck, and then he has either Drow or Maiden or both auras. There was a lot of games like that, I think, in the Kiev Major. And then they start out with one hero in his lane to help him get a head start. And they get a very farmed puck as a result. And that's what Weaver accomplished in the first 2 minutes, just helping out Universe get a good start, and then he went in to get that kill at mid earlier. Universe, nice defensive play, getting away from that harass. Forcing a salve out of Raven here as well in this wave.
SMH is really trying to get up in the face of this safe lane of EG. As much pressure as possible.
He's going to get a decent amount up here. This safe lane of TNC of EG is not that strong. The Drow is one of the weakest heroes in the game until level 6. And, oh, that was actually a kill.
Yeah. Zai as well as Universe once again. Like, right now, they're not even getting, like, the huge amount of bonus damage. There's only 10 bonus damage coming in from the puck, but catching him out. Again, try to get in the way. Like, 1437 throwing his body in the line, so Zai cannot continue to creep pull and take the farm away from Raven, but Raven can't survive this. He's out of consumables on the safe lane. He needs more life.
It's a big problem for him. There's only one tango coming in from Silencer. He has to buy something. Zai thinking about it, cutting the wave, and top lane damage. So the interesting thing about this game is that every core in the game is having a decent amount of farm. Like, nobody's
Raven.
actually sacked.
That's actually a nice play. Phantom striked himself forward, so he got hit by the Orb of Universe, but Zai wasn't able to finish him off. Tim's also started his TP in very quickly, 1437's here, and they're going to finally secure. In fact, they may actually just have to give the farm to Tim's. Yeah, they're sending Raven all the way back home. This kill of Phantom Assassin is just getting gimped so hard.
That's not too bad if you look at the CS. Like all the 6 core heroes are doing fairly well. I mean, Raven would obviously like to do better than this, but given the circumstances, I think 25 CS at this point against this lane is pretty respectable. And he would like to have more, of course. Like it's not the perfect game, but as far as the CS goes, EG have a lead of about, I guess, on average, like 5 CS across their cores, and a bit of a gold lead here, but it's to be expected when they're in a Drow lineup like this. What really is going to make things come together is the first couple of fights, especially that the Bat Rider manages to set up for the Radiant. If they work, then this gold lead of EG will not be sufficient.
Raven's trying to kill off Crit, rotated up towards the top lane. Arteezy with just the level 1 Gust, dissuading Raven, but the lane change up. Let's see how long it lasts for. You've already got Zai here. Raven needs someone to jump back out to. They TP'd in to help out, but it was Sam H who went to the shrine. He didn't actually go all the way in, but Crit and Arteezy, they've come out so far to try and fight Raven that maybe Sam H can capitalize. Tim's moving up too. They see him thanks to the Dire Observe Ward. Arteezy completes his TP out to safety. Zai, Chikuchi will get him away to safety, and Crit, well, he dies for the cause.
It would have been 2 kills for TNC if there was a dust on the Sand King. I think he's going to buy one soon. After that, it's going to annoy him that Zai was just able to freely run away there. Either him or Sam H might see pick up a Dust of Appearance. Currently just flying out another healing salve for Raven.
They have to give him something. Like, top lane is the best place for him. At least TNC could do, like with 1437 on the bottom lane, he can soak up some levels, do some harasser range against the park, but he knows he can't contest it. Not until Cuckoo has BTs. then the dynamic of this game can change.
Yeah, that's still going to take quite a while. Male in this mid lane having a good time. Generally, I would say this is a...
Gucci just got burned from the Weaver. They've got a 3-second window now to catch out Zai. Lasso's available. They're going to commit it, but the Dream Call from Universe trying to counter off the gank. Zai, he's able to Gucci himself away to safety, and Battle Rider will fall. Is TNC being aggressive, but underneath the Tier 1 tower. They get punished, and punished hard.
That's... They got the tower down low. They forced 2 TPs, and EG have 2 low heroes, and all they got was a kill on Bat Rider, which was definitely needed. If EG didn't get a kill there, that wouldn't have been very good for them with that nice 3-man call from Universe. But yeah, good play from both teams in my opinion. They forced the rotation out of TNC, forced the rotation and put pressure, and EG respond very quickly. And
suppose you got the puck off bottom lane. Raven has more space to farm up. You've still got Cuckoo getting more and more space as this Tinker in mid. Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe the sacrifice, the aggression and the rotation from EG was all worth it. Tim's Observer Ward down. Not sure if Crit knew what happened. 1437 starts his TP out. He goes all the way home. He ain't taking any chances.
Mid lane here. I still think this is going to be very crucial. The Tinker's BOTs are important. And Sumail and the Mirana, I think this is generally a fairly Tinker-favored lane, but the Drow Aura makes a very big difference. And in addition, there's been quite a bit of chaos in here. The Courier being sniped level 1 is actually the reason. We haven't really talked too much about that, but that was the 1k gold lead EG had, was the Courier snipe. So, mid lane Sumail sitting in Invis.
Yeah, but there's a sentry ward. It's just a little bit further to the north. It sees Zai coming in, so Cuckoo knows he has to back up, but the arrow from Sumail and the Starfall damage, binding with the swarm of Zai.
Very nice kill.
Allows for a very good kill. So the timing of it was perfect. He's hitting it now 1,600 gold. Really trying to get the BTs. Sam Age.
Universe is taking a lot of damage from this flame break.
With the curse as well. 1437, the damage. They need more. They don't have it. Puck gets home.
Universe went Soul Ring. Puck. I think that's the first time I've seen that. So generally what he does is he goes treads and then into straight blink. Looks like he wants to solve some mana problems. We've seen Raindrop being the solution in the past. Raindrop +1 can often take you pretty far, but Soul Ring you definitely will not have those mana problems to push out waves. I don't think I've ever seen anyone do it. Maybe it's been happening recently in games I haven't watched, but Soul Ring on Puck don't go hand in hand in my book. That's very...
It does seem like an odd combination, especially when you have like the natural regeneration. It's basically got 5 a second.
It makes a lot of sense. I play a lot of Puck myself, and often you find yourself without mana. But usually the way you go around it, as I said, is that you get a Raindrop and then into Yules after the blink. But it still takes a long time, and maybe he's just been testing this out, where if you go Soul Ring, you can farm so much faster that after 10 minutes it's paid for itself. And then it's better than going for the blink. Perhaps.
1437. Just going to go for a quick curse over on side. Universe going to orb himself away to safety as TNC. They brought 4 heroes in bottom tower, and they still don't get it. The catapult too strong.
Arteezy activated the Drow Aura, and that range creep, or that siege creep, just did 100 damage in one shot. And they were not ready for that.
Oh, Cuckoo. He's not ready for this. At least he has his BT, so even if he dies right now, which he definitely does, he still has his BTs available, but Sumail going for more. 1437 burns the Shrine. Sam H was thinking about coming into it, into the regeneration area, but now this just allows EG to look for a third kill, going one after the other. Universe was going to be safe. The Lasso just cannot control anything when Crit's nearby.
And as I mentioned before this game started, if TNC get through the laning stage well, they're going to have a really good chance. This laning stage looked okay 5 minutes ago, but now it's starting to really hurt. They've lost 2 towers, they've lost multiple heroes. Top 3 on CS are EG's heroes, and EG are only going to get more and more key items now. So I think this laning stage didn't go well enough for TNC. That doesn't mean they can't come back and take some good fights here, but it's going to be a bit of a struggle. They might need to buy time, but I feel like with every minute they're going to get more and more out-farmed and get picked off. So it's a bit of a tricky situation they've put themselves in here.
5k behind, approaching 6k. At least the experience is only 2,000 in favor of Evil Geniuses.
Yeah, it's the courier snipe.
Oh, the arrow. The Observer Ward. Sumail just saw it perfectly. Tim's had no idea what hit him until it literally hit him.
Sumail is playing without Moonlight Shadow.
suppose when your team
right.
doesn't need it.
I guess so.
This isn't a Heroes of New Earth team. You have the Moonlight Shadow at level 6 about attacking.
I think the Moonlight Shadow is, you know, it's also an aggressive tool. Use it to find ganks instead of arrows for yourself, but so far in this game hasn't needed it. And of course, if you go for this build, you have a really high damage advantage. Wow.
Well, everyone else is happy about that. 44 damage is being added to every other hero on EG at the moment.
He didn't take a talent either. Skilled arrow over 150. But yeah, the Drow is doing great. And usually what we've seen teams do against EG when they run their Drow, that they try to contest the Drow's lane and shut down Arteezy so that the team doesn't benefit so much. But then the other two lanes generally go well. And TNC's approach in this game was different. More focus on their safe lane and mid lane, and so far that has not paid off at all as they were hoping. I'm still waiting for TNC to try to make a move. Like, they finally have all of their abilities online that they should want to have. They have Global Silence, Sand King Stun, Epi. They have Lasso with drums. But they're not finding a play.
No. They've been here before. Like,
they're finding Tinker.
Yeah, bottom lane, back to the tier 2 tower. Zai's nearby, and the laser at least going to stop him from killing him off.
Oh, Universe was so close to coiling there.
Man, they actually need that Aghanim Scepter up. Like, everyone needs to be blinded this game. At least they're using Regeneration Rune as bait. Samael, hello! Through the arrow up, looking for a target. They go for the curse. 1437 doesn't have mana. Now he does for the Global Silence, allowing to find the kill onto Samael. Sam H will take it for the 451 gold. And they'd love to get a little bit more. And the tier 1 tower appears to be their target.
Oh, Universe.
Yeah, he's managed to find one. Burrow strike from Tim's. Missed time. He was looking to catch Universe mid-jaunt away. But Universe, Dream Coil, holds Tim as well as Sam H in position. Crit. Not finding any opportunity. They don't have reveal against the SK, allow him to go for another Burrow strike. You get the silence from Universe, at least allowing... Okay, no, there it is. The lasso is not allowing for anything. I was going to say, allowing Sam H just to watch everything going on.
Yeah, EG are dropping the ball a little bit there. I feel like they didn't need to lose anyone else than just the Mirana. And TNC get more than what they came for. They got 3 kills, almost got the tower. And the Mirana kill in itself was really good, but they're going to be feeling very happy with what they just accomplished there in the last minute. Pretty much knocked EG's advantage in half within 30 seconds.
It's that point where you feel like you found nothing. You smoke gank, you go through the entire jungle, you get observer wards down. It's like the consolation prize to a smoke. Then you wait for Tinker to actually have a crack at him. Yeah, but then you find the 3 kills around the baited Samael.
Yeah.
At least EG do have good aggressive wards, so they're watching Sam H pretty closely. He's rapidly approaching his own Blink Dagger, setting it now at 1900 gold, and EG have been very good at shutting down those heroes that are looking for those critical items. Originally it was keeping the BTs of Tinker down, then they just turned their attention towards the Batrider.
Samael, oh, just barely missing that arrow on 1437. He was AFK, so it missed. He was literally standing still. There was an arrow flying right next to him. He didn't see it at all. He just stood there and it's like, oh, that's fortunate.
Syndrome's guide to avoid arrows. Take hands off keyboard and mouse.
Stand still. It's the classic thing with, you remember, Sing Sing used to play a lot of Mirana back when he was playing competitively, and he said it's way harder to hit arrows in pubs than in competitive because I have no idea what these idiots are doing. But this time it's the other way around, you know? And it's just next level to pot him. You just stand still and he arrows and you're like, oh, there's an arrow.
My prediction skills are meant to be amazing. You've got Samael, like, you think at the moment from TI6, his prediction arrow was absolutely perfect, and... Well,
can't predict if your enemy takes his hands off the keyboard.
Yeah.
Good.
Well, you add the arrow.
Let's try to catch up a little bit on items. So Raven went for a Vanguard build this game on his Phantom Assassin. Felt like he needed to tank up. This makes the hero very tanky. He has 150 health talent and a Vanguard, as well as the wand to go. So tanky and sustainable against this dire lineup. Building in toward the Deso. Actually, we might need to wait with the rest of the items.
They Moonlight Shadow.
A big moment. Sam H could make a big play here.
The smoke is broken now. They don't have detection. Moonlight Shadow will wear off in 2 seconds' time, so they fire up. The Sentry Ward is down. So they found their target with a false promise. Allows Samael to bail out of this one. The Dream Call making sure Sand King has to stay exactly where he is. He has his epicenter available, but EG don't lose anybody. A quick sandstorm. Zai, Burrow Strike away. Tim's on the run from him. He has enough damage. Of course, he's got a freaking Drow Ranger behind him. So Zai, Shikuchi forward. They want trigger off the shrine, and they're going to get it. Universe jorted himself into the middle of all of TNC. They're bailing out of the shrine. The arrow will connect onto Tim's. He knew what he was going to do that time, but no one from EG is close enough, or is he? Zai, you know he just wants to slip through the back lines and find somebody, but with Universe down, maybe think second thought about it.
That was a bit of a pretty scrappy fight, but at the end of the day, I think TNC come out slightly ahead there. They get the mid tower. They lost their silencer before he even got global off, so that fight could have been a lot better for them if he got that spell off. But EG still, managed to at least get a kill on their way out.
That Shadow Blade being put to use already as the Batrider Tims, the Burrow Strike. It'll save Sam H. He went down to 60 HP. The Global Silence combining with the Epicenter. They turn around onto Drow Ranger with the Flame Break. She'll burn from this. Oh, will she? The damage. Oh, to keep her alive. She'll stay alive. Okay. No, here comes another Sentry Ward. Cuckoo with his TP forward. Finds the kill onto Arteezy. Crit did everything humanly possible with no false promise.
Toby, I think he's gonna die. Oh, it actually takes longer than I thought. Maybe he's fine.
Man, get the bug off that 1437. It's the infestation. Ravens going in. The silence is there from Universe, but the lasso quickly from Samael. Support is there. Crit this on around. He had the false promise to break it, but you've lost Samael. You're losing more. Maybe Raven, this is his time to shine. Needs the vision once more. Zai fighting an Infest. Cuckoo brings him the support. Master Machines to get the cover fire. PA still trying to get the bug off him and get rid of that negative armor. Zai running through the Master of the Machines. Revealed for half a second and gets rocketed to oblivion. EG! Ouch. Man, you're calling the other fight scrappy. That's scrappy do right there.
That was even more scrappy. Okay, Silencer did die, Toby, so that was the important part.
Critical
one. Saw it coming. Saw it coming when they went on him. He was definitely going to get into a 30-second fight and die in the middle of that. But
he got Global Silence off, GG.
I thought he was going to die really fast, but actually a very nice counterplay there from TNC. So 1437 ran to the left, and they were chasing him with both the Mirana and the Weaver, and if both of them get like 2 attacks off, he just dies. But there was a very quick Stifling Dagger from Raven to slow down the Mirana, and then they counterplayed and turned it around very nicely. And at the end of the day there, EG, again, not really getting as much out of it as they would have hoped. Their gold lead is now down to 2K, and most of the time when we see EG have like this 5 or 6K lead with their Drow strats, they keep it. They roll with it, they extend it, and then they end the game at around 25-30 minutes. This game, that's just not going to happen. I don't think EG can break the base that early, and they need to play for Plan B.
But this was the problem you're talking about, the drafting phase. That's why you were favoring TNC a little bit more. And okay, no, bottom lane's not going to be a fight.
Are you sure about that?
Well, I'm surprised Sam Asian. He doesn't have lasso. It's on 5-second cooldown. He doesn't want to fight into it.
Oh, there's many EG heroes here.
Yeah, Blink Taker just arrived. Tim's run away, but no! Universe, not only will he get the kill, he'll take the courier with it. Blinking forward, finding the pick.
Is that the Tinker Ward that set all of that up? I think
it was the Tinker Ward.
Yeah, that's not really what you put it for, but nice.
You'll take what you get. Yeah. But it's still the underlying problem you're talking about. The fact that EG just don't have that front liner. Like Zai is sort of becoming it, but he's spending most of his time in Viz running around, trying to do the damage, but you don't have that big pop damage yet from EG.
He needs to be so careful. There's no hero on the Dire that can just go in with confidence. And it's because of the Global Silence. If Global Silence wasn't in this game, I think EG would be playing very differently. But they can't just run in their Mirana, for example, and just try to go for a kill knowing that there's going to be a false promise. The moment you commit into a fight, you're committed, and you're not getting out again. Then you need to have the stronger firepower. I think it's going to have to mainly come from this Arteezy Drow that is closing in on Silver Edge, and then maybe start opening up on the PA. Take her out first. Good scan from the Radiant. They're reading this movement very well. And might be looking for a counterplay. Everything is ready on both sides for a fight.
Samael, the leap forward, needs to hit the arrow with the Dream Coil. Okay, that's where you use your magical burst damage to find the kill.
And that Tinker Ward has provided so much value. I think it just got panned out by Sam H. He's like, you know what, guys? We just lost.
Wait. Are they going to realize that Roshan's being done? Does PA have a look inside the pit? Roshan's so low. Raven's walking straight past it. Now Roshan gets triggered. He'll realize it. The Burrow Strike, it catches 2, including the Chikuchiing Weaver. Arteezy is away.
What a snipe,
Support is there.
Yeah, if there's one thing EG aren't lacking is physical damage. They can kill Roche pretty damn fast with a Crest, Swarm, and this Drow Ranger right-clicking. And Zai is going to be more than happy to die for the cause there.
Do you like the Silver Edge from the Drow Ranger?
Yeah, I do. It's strictly because of the PA, I think. And it's good enough, I think. Like, the Shadow Blade often provides the value that you need, but in this game the upgrade is valuable enough to go for it straight away, I think. It's going to give them a chance to kill that PA. As you talked about, they have the burst. They just need to be able to control him a little bit.
Really good scan from EG. They scanned just north of Roshan, looking for the rotation from TNC, and they pinged on 2 heroes. Already understanding the Tinker was in the lane and the SK was hovering around because they back up and hold near the tower where they have a little bit more reinforcements, babysitting Arteezy more than anything else. But now if EG want to attack, there is still that aggressive Observer Ward. Of course, Mr. Invisible Arteezy just walks straight underneath
Raven, I don't...
They see Tim's. Again, this is how Tim's died last time on the top lane. Hiding in the trees, thought he was fine, but the Dire Vision, the Observer Ward just sees when the SK is preparing his attack.
They really want to fight this? TNC are sticking around. If Sumail shows on this bottom wave, they could go for a play. EG are splitting up now. They're pinging him out. This is a dead puck if they see it.
Yeah, such a long way, but it is still a Eul Scepter on the puck. He just blinked. He orbed.
He's dead if he has
Question is, can he fade shift in time? He's able to do so. Global Silence. He's got the Eul Scepter available as well. Breaking free. Universe into the phase shift. Not only does he bait out the gank, he'll escape the gank, and Global Silence got burned for it. Bottom lane TPs are kicking in. Tims gets the Burrow Strike out, looking for the kill over on Zai. Rocket Supply forward. They saw which way Zai went. He went north. But there's no follow-up. In fact, Tims is going in into a different angle. It's to the Mirana. The Burrow Strike in. Arteezy. The epicenter is out. They dust him up. So the reveal is on Arteezy. A gust creates a little bit of space, but not enough. Double sentries being planted down.
They just...
Yeah.
Oh, they stopped the TP out from Tinker. That's really big.
Cuckoo's got nothing left to fight with. 1437 can curse all he wants. Cuckoo kills himself on the edge of the Dream Call. The PA can do the work. Arteezy will fall. Both the sentries actually paying off. Now they turn their attention towards Zai. False Promise cannot protect him from the damage output that this PA can do. And they're looking for more. It's crit. Raven will have himself a double kill. Tim, the Burrow Strike, barely missing Universe. They could have been all dead. But EG will escape with Universe as the sole survivor of the EG war.
That is a really, really big gain for especially the PA. Look at that gold swing for him. 1,200 gold gained there for the PA, 800 for the Sand King, and in comparison, EG's heroes barely gaining anything. Just a little bit of gain for the puck, but TNC, this is getting scary now. I feel like TNC are leading the game, and you're looking at the gold, and it's like slightly EG favorite, but their game plan is just not working out well enough. And that could have gone even worse for them. If Universe isn't there with that very clutch coil on the Tinker, I think they would have been destroyed that fight. It would have been 5 for 1, 5 for 2 maybe. And Sumail just has to be very careful. This time again, he gets caught by the lasso with leap off cooldown, or on cooldown rather. That's right. He didn't have it. He just couldn't really do that much in that fight on his Mirana.
Zai. Stalking. Finding an Invis rune. If he really wants to do anything about Tims, if he has a little bit of extra help. They don't have that long range arrow. Crit's the only one who's nearby. So yeah, it looks like this is just going to be him trying to leech an Ancient. But Cuckoo is getting into a better position. Time and time again. Blink as well as BTs.
I think the
hard to catch him out.
Yeah, he got the lens. You generally get lens on Tinker when your next item is the axe. Sometimes you can get it with Dagon, but I think the most common build-up is this exact one where the lens comes before the laser axe upgrade, and then you focus a lot on just getting laser on 2 heroes every single cast.
I just broke the smoke. They had that smoke for a grand total of 0.5 seconds. And he's still got the Observer Ward down. They burned a Dust Charge. So the Obs Ward will remain. And TNC wastes initiation time.
Still going to get the tower. I don't think EG has any interest in defending something like this. It's hard right now. Raven, by the way, building into Manta style. Oh, they're going to hesitate.
The scan pinged. It
Yeah.
actually clipped onto Zai. If it was just a little bit further up on the left. So they're very, very worried about an EG initiation.
Bit of the scan actually kind of working against them there. They were totally fine, but they don't have the information, and gives EG a little bit of extra space to work with.
You see how defensive they are with their obs and sentry? Like they put both the obs and the sentry inside the lane on the bottom. So they're looking towards the tier 1 tower, looking for Drow Ranger to come in with that Silver Edge and move in and just attack. But it doesn't happen. Now they take the tower, and EG have continued to file up the jungle in the meantime.
Raven's going to move in, start dealing damage to the tier 2 here. Puck gets caught by SamH here. This is pretty bad for EG. They don't have Oracle in any position to help. I think, yeah, they spotted each other there actually. But SamH has kind of made a perimeter here that EG aren't interested in coming into, so they're going to go for the top tier 1. They will get it. TC takes a beating though.
But at the same time, the tier 2 tower's gone. So yep. tier 1 and tier 2 for a tier 1. You'll take that trade, especially with a Tinker on the field. This is more space for Cuckoo, more money for Cuckoo. He's now 100 gold away from having that Aghanims.
Damn, so strong.
Yeah. It's a Phantom Assassin. Deso, Manta, and Vanguard. I'm not certain how they kill him.
They have to...
And if they even focus him. Like, do you focus a different target in the fight?
PA is the biggest kill they can find, I think. But it's also one of the harder ones. They need the Silver Edge attack to break Blur, and then they need to hit a stun. The problem is their reliable stun is Dream Coil, and that doesn't last very long.
1437 may die here. He's a little bit out at the same time. Arteezy being initiated on that Blink Burrow Strike. He's the bigger kill. Starts his TP. They need a crit, and with the damage they have, it will be enough. Oh. Ah, goodbye, universe!
Oh, I love playing this hero.
You just love the Grave of Swords.
Oh!
Another hit, Zai!
It feels good just to watch it, you know?
Time-lapse this.
Yep, he will. But too late.
He's still taking the damage. He didn't want to go back into that horrible area. If he waited half a second longer, he might have been able to kill off the courier.
Alright, Raven, slow down. Don't crit on every attack, then you won't have it for the fight.
Yeah, because he can control that. Just put down the Lucky Charms for a second.
This is kind of funny. You look at Crit, and he has 7 urns on the Oracle, but he just can't use them in the fight because heroes are getting bursted too fast. Like, he doesn't really get to heal people up. It's very uncharacteristic to see this many charges on an urn in a competitive game. It happens quite a lot in pub games where you're not watching your economy with it. Doesn't have many of this urn.
Maybe he's got to put on the Tinker every time he sees him. But
yeah, that's pretty good, but he's never going to be in range.
Yeah, the range is the issue. Phantom Assassin are going to be on the run and evade the attack from Zai. Alright, Roshan is up in about 10-15 seconds.
Both teams can kill this very fast. PA, one of the best heroes at killing Roshan. Innately wants to go for minus armor, has the crit, has the evasion, so she can just solo it. Even with just this 10% lifesteal talent, can easily solo out a Rosh here. And now EG, they need to make a move now.
That Abyssal's so close for Raven. Like, they're actually going to have straight lockdown control now too.
Got the bat.
Yeah.
This guy is going to kill everyone if they don't get him under control.
There goes the arrow. They're inside of Roshan. The PA illusion's on its way into. They deal with it quickly, committing Rift as well as some decent abilities. He's already triggered off his aura. And Tim's, well, wait for the timing. Roshan is low. Stifling Dagger goes in. Rockets as well. Roshan killed by the dive. And the epicenter! TNC! Lacquering it on top of Evil Jesus. Arteezy. Chris trying to keep him alive. Maybe it was enough heal. We'll see if he does pop or not. He doesn't. He's back to full life. They have the buyback from the Weaver. They need to win this fight, but Raven, he's in the thick of it. Looking for the crit. Damage will fall. They'll lose a Gem of True Sight. The Burrow Strike creating a little bit more space here from Tims. They need a little bit more here, TNC. They haven't done it just yet. 1437 will fall. Is their buybacks? You've still got Tims as well as Raven. This two-man Basher army killing off Evil Geniuses. Raven with the ultra kill. And Evil Geniuses committing heavily into that.
Yeah, they bought back both the... What's that?
It was just Weaver.
So they bought back the Weaver, but they dive 5 heroes. Who even got the Aegis in that mess?
I honestly, like...
Aegis was on Sumail, and he died again. The cheese is also used.
Cheese was consumed.
It might have been Arteezy who had it. He got healed to full.
Cheese was consumed by Arteezy.
Yeah. But in spite of that, so they had Aegis, cheese, and a buyback, and they lost the fight. That's pretty bad. But of course, like the positioning EG are in to take that Roche is a huge gamble play. I think it was the right choice to try to go for it. But if they get caught like that, 3 or 4 man laser twice, epicenter, 3-man burrow, you're just not winning that fight. But they kind of had to do something. They felt like the game was slipping away.
Are they going to force this? The Burrow Strike! The Sentry Ward was down. They saw him, and with the fresh Abyssal Blade at the front lines, Zai is gone. That's a die back for him, and Cuckoo's looking for more. Crit has to false promise himself, allowing them to lasso Universe, bringing him down. And the bottom racks, it was Evil Geniuses that helped TNC fall apart. Now the shoe is most definitely on the other foot. And they get another Blink Burrow. Crit will fall. Arteezy trying to be the cannon under the tier 4 towers. They will actually bring down Sam H. The PA into the back lines. The laser, the rockets, the bash. Arteezy will fall. And EG will lose a second lane of racks guaranteed. The question is, how much longer do they stick in this game? Do they believe they still have what it takes? The Dro lineup has failed.
Yeah, it's pretty much failed at this point. I mean, it's still possible. I don't think they should GG out. There is a chance of getting a fight that they win. And the reason, I think the chance that they have is still that PA doesn't have a BKB. He might buy one now, or he might just go even harder on the damage. So they can kill Raven with the right combination where everything just clicks. Like you hit a good arrow, you get Silver Edge off, and everyone bursts him. It is really, really hard, though. And I don't think they're going to win the fight if they don't kill Raven first. I think he's just going to slowly kill everyone together with the Tinker.
But there's no way they can do it, though.
This Manta style was actually a really key pickup. He used it in that last fight at the Roche Pit to remove Fate's Edict. One of the good counterplays EG have to this PA, and it just doesn't exist. When he gets disarmed, he just breaks it and kills the Oracle right away, because Oracle has to expose himself to even get that spell off. And he can get punished really, really hard by Raven. And TNC, very well executed game in my opinion here. This is not easy to play. Like when you're playing against a Drow lineup and you're this far behind this early, it's difficult. But they found the two fights that they needed, put themselves in a great position, and now it looks like Raven, no BKB planned. He's going to go for the butterfly once he gets that.
Yeah.
How do you kill this guy?
You don't. It's just that simple. Evil Geniuses can wish, hope, pray that he just goes in solo and away from everyone else from TNC, but they can't control. They don't have that wonderful chronosphere that Universe could bring in game 1. Instead, it's Tim's being the aggressor. Tim's Burrow Strike catching out 2-3 heroes every time. He's only now just looking to build up his Aghanim Scepter. He's been hitting absolutely everything. I think he's done more control than we've seen from Sam H. Sam H is almost like that little distraction birdie, the red flag to the bull kind of thing. Go and attack this. Go and try and control this. Trick, you commit your false promise to control that.
It's actually true.
Like, you can't,
He's level 15 on Bat Rider, and the Sand King's level 21.
You can't false promise 3 heroes in a line style.
No.
And now you got the BKB at least for Arteezy. He has this, but it's got no way to give distance. Like there's no also keeping in mind he went for the Shadow Blade at the Silver Edge to try and counter against the Phantom Assassin. He never was able to get his Hurricane Pike. He never was able to get that repositioning item, which you kind of need to have for Drow Ranger in the fight.
Yeah, it's a fair point that he could have gone for a Force Staff after that Shadow Blade, or maybe even before, and then finished the Silver Edge.
Oh, here they come.
Hurt him.
Moonlight Shadow, they're right on top of TNC. How do they do it? The Global Silence 1437, cancelling them off. Zai is low. Does he have a way out this one? Will he survive long enough? The Epicenter, BKB at least protects Arteezy for the moment, but Cuckoo into the trees, spamming out the damage, and Raven crits against Samael. Look at the damage! They can't even hit him! They're trying and trying, but the blind hitting the very, very visible. EG will lose 4 and the game. TNC will get a 1-1 result by taking game 2 in this first series of TI7.
If you pick Raven for your fantasy team, I think you gave a lot of points this game. 19-0, 230 CS.
I can't bring up the board anymore. Yeah, Raven. Hey, man, Raven is one of the big ones. I think the only downside for TNC was the fact they have 2 series today, maybe? Either way.
They only have 2 series. Then I guess you shouldn't pick them for you. I believe EG has 3 today, and Liquid have 3.
EG definitely has 3 coming up today. And of course, there's a lot more data coming up. There's still probably the other streams going on. We're running 4 consecutive streams for the group stage, so every Dota, you can check them out from 1 to 4. They're all there. Syndra and I will be here on the main stream for the next 2 series as well, so we'll have OG going up against the artist formerly known as MP, and then Secret versus Infamous will be coming up as well. The other 2 games coming up later on with LD and Lumi, Newbie versus Cloud9, and EG versus Liquid. So EG will start and end our day on Stream 1. Hope you're having a great time watching, and of course, Syndra and I will return for our second series. Welcome everybody here to our second series of Stream A for the International 2017 Cloud9, formerly known as MP, going up against OG, formerly known as a Green Banner. I'm Toby1, joined by Synderen.
Yep, the OG, formerly known as OG, with a different logo.
Yeah.
But they still kept their name, so they've rebranded under the Red Bull sponsorship, but they still, I believe the name is still just OG, not Red Bull OG or OG. We're gonna call them OG.
I'm only calling him OG. Like, it's not like we're gonna be like, welcome to Cloud9, G2A HUC Logitech.
Yeah.
Screw that shit.
Fair enough.
OG, a team known for their greatness in majors, known for their wonderful performance in the group stage of the International 2016, and known for their absolute destruction at the hands of MVP and TNC during the last TI, one of the biggest upset losses of the last International. How do you think they're going to fare this team?
I think it's really difficult to really predict how things are going to go this time around. It's like everybody kind of says it, that every year the competition gets harder, and I feel like we just see it over and over again. And yes, that thing last year with TNC was definitely a big upset, but we see upsets like that fairly regularly. There's a lot of teams that are renowned as the best, but the best are not that much better than the second best than they used to be. So upsets like that are more likely. OG are a team I think have a very good shot at minimum top 8. Top 6 is definitely possible. Top 4 is less likely, and then going all the way, I think, you know, I just can't say it. I think going all the way is unlikely for any team. That's the whole point. Like, there's nobody where I'm like, this team is making top 4, no question.
When everyone started predicting like who was going to win, like you could probably go down to like limit your pool to an 8, and then just find an 8-sided dice, roll it, and then see who's going to come up. And that's probably your best way of deciding who's going to win TI.
It's pretty close to that at this point. Maybe you narrow it down a little bit more and say like top 6 or top 4, but beyond that, honestly, going into the tournament, it's impossible to say. Maybe we'll know more after a couple of days of groups. Maybe a team really stands out as being above the rest. But with the merit the teams have going in and what we've seen over the last couple of months, I don't think there's like a massive favorite.
S4, you on it. You on it. Let it out.
Oh,
let
man,
it out. Let it out,
S4 is ready
S4.
to play. It's like,
he looks at us like, Lich. Why am I going up
can we
against
play the main
Lich?
event already?
Just like, you know, can I just like sleep through this? You know, no, just pick Arc Warden. Just Arc Warden it. Like, we'll just out push him that way. It's fine.
Oh.
And a Winter Wyvern with an Nyx Assassin as the first 2.
Okay, so this is very different from what we saw in the last game, and there's a couple of things. So first of all, Sand King Shaker are banned again, or they were banned in the first game, and in the second game Sand King got through. Earth Spirit got lots of 4 bans. Look at that. 4 potential position 4 heroes banned, and a couple of them can go offlane. First pick Nyx, that was a hero that was banned both games in the last series we saw, so seems to be a very hot pick right now. And then Cloud9 grabbing the Lich instantly and the NS that we've seen contested. This Wyvern pick is really weird for me, because most of the time this hero gets picked up as a counter pick. You pick it for Cold Embrace, and you pick it for Winter's Curse, which both abilities are very strong against physical damage. And then you look at Cloud9's heroes, and you're like, what is one thing these 2 heroes don't have? It's physical damage. It's like the only thing they really don't do. They give vision, they have slow, they have silence, they have mobility on the Night Stalker, you have ganking potential, you don't have physical damage. Let's go Wyvern!
But it's just then one of those like flight things. Like, I always picked up Phoenix because of this. Like, Firebird was last TI, now it's Frostbird this time.
Maybe.
Like, it becomes that lane harasser. Maybe it's another setup as well for a bigger AoE controller. We can look towards S4's Enigma play.
Darkseer?
Darkseer could also be another one. Like, you just... I don't think like any other AoE control that Wyvern can do where it's not about who he counters, it's who he synergizes.
They're not picking, just going for a flat-out bad pick on second pick. No, nobody. That's not going to happen. It's interesting to me. I'm just curious to see what they're going to do with it. I love Wyvern. I think it's one of the most fun heroes to play as a support and very like unique in design. So I'm just happy we get to see it. this was just not the conditions I was expecting to see it picked under. So here comes the co-op for Cloud9. Alchemist ban, by the way, noteworthy.
Yep.
Both Alchemist and Anti-Mage. OG banning very heavy farming split push heroes, which is maybe surprising. That's something we generally see OG pick themselves.
The Anti-Mage maybe not so much. The Anti-Mage was another one of those heroes which we're flagging as a good safe laner for this entire tournament.
Yeah, maybe No-Tail just doesn't like it at all.
Maybe just doesn't want Eternal Envy playing. It's like I don't want to get pushed into a position where we have to play like 50 minutes or 60 minutes worth of a game where everything can be just decided on one bad play, or I have to always pressure Eternal Envy. Can I just let him be who he wants to be, but not farming to a point where I'm going to worry about what he's going to be? Yeah. Either way, Fly. Now the pickup. And do you actually see S4 actually running the Nyx Assassin in this game? Or do you feel like you can run a 4-position Nyx?
I think it's almost only a 4. I think this hero is really weak in the offlane, actually. The problem that Nyx has as a position 3 is that he does fairly poorly in a lot of 1v2s, and actually a lot of 1v1s, and 1v3s you can get shut down completely. What's your recovery plan? You can't really jungle. You are not that good at making lane swaps and then suddenly being in another lane and playing that, because then you're also going to lose that matchup. And in addition to that, you have a position 3 who doesn't farm. Like, Nyx is a scout. So if you put this hero on position 3 and he starts running around, if you don't make plays, you're just falling behind as a 3 instead of as a 4. Or even a 5. I'm pretty sure this is a position 4 Nyx. We're going to see the TA grabbed here for Ana, so OG definitely getting a comfort pick in that regard. Queen of Pain, not the easiest matchup, but it's definitely playable.
It's the confidence in Ana to also win that lane. Like, if he's got a little bit of help from Y, then maybe they can just harass the Queen of Pain out of the mid, cause a large amount of problems for Fada, and that's probably what we are going to see in the or whoever else is going to. The Night Stalker is going to be doing the same thing to the team.
They did pick TA into both a Quap and a Lich. Lich is actually not too bad. Ice Armor is very powerful against TA. I think it's often overlooked. When you talk about Lich, people like focusing on like the laning of Sacrifice and the harassment, and that you have Chain Frost, and of course Ice Armor is definitely mentioned, but it's probably a bigger part of the hero than some people expect, and picking TA into that is a bit surprising to me. To be honest with you, I haven't really liked or followed the logic in OG's draft order so far, so I'm just looking forward to being surprised with what the idea is here. But this, to me, if you asked me, if you freeze framed this and you asked me who picked what when, I would have thought that this was actually Cloud9 counterpicking every time. Cloud9 first picked Lich, and then they got the heroes as counterpicks every time. Bit surprising. Here comes the Bat Rider. Good hero against Templar Assassin. Pretty bad against Nyx, though. One of the worst matchups Bat Rider has at all. It's a hero that can find Bat. You have Carapace against Firefly.
It seems like Quap as well as Bat Rider are going to have a hard time against that. Yeah. And, well, they go for the Phantom Lancer. We saw him being banned out in the previous series we had on the mainstream. And now he's going to be picked up. The 4th position.
This series to me just already, at least OG, seem like they have a completely different view on Dota than the last match. That's always very interesting to see when teams go in like this. You generally don't have an end result where it's like, you were right, you were wrong, but there will be some adaptations coming along the way where they're going to like merge more toward each other. But right now, this is a completely different style of Dota from OG than we saw.
Which is exactly what they probably wanted to achieve. Like, we understand, like, Sebastian, their coach behind the scenes, Fly and No-Tail are probably, like, hashing out as many ideas as we possibly can. And OG's biggest problem last TI was the fact that they were very predictable. You knew the type of gameplay they were going to play, the type of timing they would play, their exact movements. So throwing a spanner in the works in the group stage is a fantastic, as long as they can still get victories, of course. You don't want to find yourself sitting on the edge of that elimination game. But definitely mixing things up, making sure that everyone doesn't just think you're a one-trick pony, making sure that people aren't confident going up against you because they know what they're going to get. And OG, a lot of eyes are on them, no matter how much pressure you probably take off them, because they're like, oh, they're just underperforming lately. They still won the majors. They still stepped up when the time counted. And this is something which a lot of teams will still have a lot of respect for. And OG, they need to keep teams on their toes up against them, and I think this is a really good way to start. It's still confident in its way. There's still stability.
Oh, that's a good ban. That's a really good ban.
There goes your extra physical damage that's been.
It's one of the heroes that you actually like playing Wyvern against, but Sven is good against PL and TA. Like, very good. And they OG have
so
chosen
much armor with ice armor as well if they had it.
OG have chosen to show 2 physical damage cores and pick 2 greedy heroes in both PL and TA. Like, I know last game I said PL was a less greedy pick than what was the other one I was mentioning, Spectre, but it still is a pretty farm-oriented hero no matter how you look at it. There's greedier heroes, but there's definitely also less greedy heroes. Well, we'll see how OG distribute their farm in this game and how they put their lanes. PL is good against it.
It's a Centaur.
Classic OG stuff. So yeah, offlane Cent, Nyx, Wyvern supports, and these.
It's a lot of survivability out from OG. Like, is this when you start questioning, like, what does Cloud9 do? You ban out the Sven, you ban out that heavy amount of physical damage that he could have brought to the fight. Where is that damage output coming from C9? Queen of Pain does a Sonic Wave combination, and then it's what? What is this EE hero?
I think Venomancer is pretty.
Is that enough damage, though? Because Centaur can just disengage with Stampede.
It might not be enough. It's either that or you go for some really, I think, possibly safe lane Ember, but you don't want to pick Ember into Nyx. That's a pretty bad matchup, actually.
Yeah.
But Ember is pretty good against PL. He's pretty good against TA. Good against Wyvern. And I'm just thinking about Envy heroes, and there's nothing coming to mind right now that would be amazing. But they have to choose, and it is...
Juggernaut. The last hero that's left, which actually has enough damage and sustain that maybe they can fight in the lane. Clearance might be a bit of a problem, but if we kind of do also understand, like, the PL is not an illusion hero anymore, or isn't really an illusion. Very short burst, so the Maelstrom build on the Juggernaut.
Yes, Jugger is the type of hero that wants to go Mjolnir in this game, for sure. It's very high value against the PL. It's good against TA. You get refraction down faster. Good attack speed. You have the Chain Lightning proc to remove that. I
have a critical question for you. Mm-hmm. Is it really a Bat Rider when he's not riding a bat? Shouldn't it be Manta Rider?
Bat Raider.
Maybe a Raider? He's not a Raider.
It's a Ray... Manta Ray. Bat Raider.
But he's not Bat. He's not a bat.
I know.
It's the person. It's what he's riding, right?
Yeah.
I do think that's a nice little spin on it, the Bat Raider. But
well, just say that's what it is. That's the lore behind it. Okay, it's fine. Don't worry about cosmetics. They all make sense. This Phantom Lancer is wearing a shovel and a triangular hat, a wizard hat. He's still a Phantom Lancer. Is it actually a shovel? It looked like a shovel. I put on my shovel and my wizard hat.
To battle go.
How far cosmetics have come. Okay, so anyway, let's have a look at the game as we pause. Okay, nice. Way to blow the steam out of that.
It's not a shovel, it's an oar.
It's an oar?
It's an oar. It is the Humble Drifter's oar on the Phantom Lancer.
That's a very nice name for a shovel.
It's a common weapon from Bell. I'm surprised. I am very surprised. But then again, why would he spend money on a cat character? He would spend money on a dog character.
Wait, what just happened?
What?
So Jarex is TPing to his own base and says his TP bugged, and then the Radiant are also saying bugged.
Alright, so they both bugged out when they TP'd out. Yeah.
I'm not sure what happened.
But AUI and Pylidea both committed their TP scrolls to go out, where it was only Jirax from OG who committed his.
Where's AUI? AUI is TPing top. It's not...
Alright, so it's up to the admin for how we move forward from here.
Okay. Anyway, I want to, like, whether we remake or not, want to look a bit at these lineups because it's so different. Okay, here we go.
Okay, so no remake.
The OG lineup is very different from what we've seen as of late, whereas Cloud9 is more in line with stuff we've seen. It's pretty fight-centric, has vision and ways of engaging, it has team fight and scaling heroes, whereas OG's is a lot more, I want to say, counterplay-focused, like PL being able to disengage, Winter's Curse, Spike Carapace from the Nyx Stampede to get out, and then really greedy farmers that need time to build up. Playing playing TA and PL together is often not that advisable because of like you basically put yourself on the back foot for a while. Like your lineup is just not strong at fighting back. But if they manage to get through that phase, they're very strong later on.
Doesn't this seem like that old school OG?
Yeah, where they were always playing like 1 or 2 saving supports, and then they played greedy core. I wonder if they found that style works better again. I guess we'll have to see.
Well, you got the saving support that comes in the form of the Winter Wyvern, and
it
in
doesn't
a way
really save against this lineup, though, does it?
No, but that's also because you picked it so early on that Cloud9 were not going to say, "Hey, we're gonna draft something which you can now counter."
That's what I thought too.
But then you also have Nyx Assassin. You've got like the counter to almost everything they've got, so he can do the saving.
I think the Nyx pick turned out very good this game, even though it got first picked. We're gonna see how it works out. Hero is
Jirax. Is he actually going to try this? It's like, hi, Father. Father's leaving. He's like, no battle, no contest. I lay my wings down at your feet. Father. Okay, Jirax is not accepting this. Boots first. Nyx Assassin rotations. He'll keep Father as well looking behind him. Thanks to the fact that Father didn't get the bounty rune, he's not going to bring out the salve early on.
I like this laning from Cloud9. Very good. They're putting the Night Stalker mid in the start to harass the TA and give the Quaff an advantage. Bottom lane they have Batrider against Centaur, which is a very Batrider favored lane. And then top they have this Lich duo lane that is able to get the wave back and annoy this OG together with a Juggernaut who can't really get killed here.
Both sides are starting off their harassment. Eternal Envy's already committed his spin. No-Tail's got Dragon Lance of Fireball, chipping down Eternal Envy. They have to burn through... They didn't bring that many consumables to the top lane. So they're going to have to burn through a lot of their tangos already between Pilot Eye and Envy. He at least has the salve available.
They're gonna be all right for a while.
S1 needs to switch his build up a little bit. He needs to get that stick as early as he can against MSS.
Either stick or I think it might be better to just rush the boots. Actually,
He's got Tranquils in his quick buy.
Yeah, the real challenge is getting to the shop.
Heh.
That is not gonna be easy. If MSS can play this lane however he wants, he's going to outfarm the Centaur quite a lot because he can push this wave and then he can go and farm his side camp with Firefly and stack it if he wants. And there is nothing Centaur can do. So, there we go. Boots picked up for Batrider, so head start here for him. Already up 4-1.
We're bringing help up to top lane. Jirax, the double stun is beautiful. Pilot die. He goes for Frost Armor at level 2, but that won't actually stop No-Tail from taking the first blood. They'll lose Jirax. But it looked like a sacrifice OG was willing to make by making him run underneath the tier 1 tower to line up the double stun.
You're generally okay as the team on the receiving end if you trade kills in a 3-on-2. That's pretty good. It was first blood though, so obviously good for OG. But if you go for 3-on-2 lane, you generally just get a kill, and that's it. But the counter kill for C9 there was good for them.
We got a first a little bit of a lane rotation. No-Tail has switched himself down to the bottom lane. S4 is going to head up towards the top, but in mid lane, Jirax with that haste rune. Just trying to cause problems. He stole from underneath the nose of AUI. But it's more of just keep your eyes behind your back at all times.
This is a very good lane matchup for PL now, bottom. This is part of the reason OG picked the Lancer, is how well he fares against Batrider. So you can always doppelganger off the stacks of sticky napalm. You have a good and reliable slow that you can get in with, and you can actually just fight the Batrider when he goes on you. You lance your fight back, and then you...
I don't think Fada really meant to do that. He blinked up into the small area just south of the Ancients, and then attacked uphill, revealing the fact they had an Observer Ward there.
Oh.
And this was scouted by OG. The ping came very shortly after it happened.
The ward only has a minute and a half left on it. They got a majority of the value out of it anyway.
Yeah. Just small little thing.
Yep.
S4's going to have the time of his life now on the top lane. Eternal Envy and Pilot, I know they can't kill him. Like, at least Frost Arm means S4's not going to try and physically harass Eternal Envy down. No-Tail, I think he's fine. Like, MSS can fight by all he wants.
Bigger problem here for OG, the way I see it, is that all 3 cores of Cloud9 are having a good time, and this mid lane, Ana is just not going to win. It's not, in the first place, it's not that good of a matchup, and he's getting countered really hard by this Night Stalker, and now it's only going to get worse. So Ana is stacking his Ancients, and he currently got Dragons and Ancient Prowlers.
Yeah, he actually had a bugging Dragon. Dragon didn't move off the camp when he attacked. Sorry, one of the Satyrs, the Prowlers. It just stayed there when he attacked it. So he didn't actually get his.
Oh, Fly is
boned.
Mucho dead.
Yeah, he's trying to fly over the tree line. He's out of range of everything until AUI takes to the skies, and he'll fall. Meanwhile, in mid lane, Anna looking for the kill over on Fado with a stun from GRX and that Meld Strike. It does the damage, but Anna's in trouble. MSS, the best rotation he could have asked for. Now you've almost got a level 6 Batrider under 5 minutes into this game, taking a solo kill on a Templar Assassin.
It's still a very important kill for OG to get regardless. Ana getting the kill on
Oh, GRX. No, not like this, GRX. he got hit and petrified and desecrated by the frickin' Prowler.
Oh, that is not good.
They can't stack because the Observer was blocking it again.
They're putting a lot of emphasis on this mid lane, and they can get away with it because their side lanes are so good. Night Stalker hasn't even really needed to do much else. He made that very quick move top to kill the Wyvern, but apart from that, AUI has been targeting this mid lane a lot. Ana has skilled Meld, dodges the Shadow Strike nicely there.
Eternal Envy, do you want to go on to that? There's still a Centaur. Very deep under the town, but with the help from AUI, they got another creep wave here as well. S4 will have to make a break for the tree line. He goes for the Horse Stomp, at least keeps AUI in position, but with the spin damage, S4 will fall. And Cloud9 showing they're not afraid to dive underneath those tier 1 towers. Especially when OG are committing resources elsewhere. AKA Anna now trying to farm the stacks. Yeah, there is that Prowler. He's not moving again. He refuses to get off that dire camp.
Wait, what is happening?
I'm not certain.
Is this... So, the biggest concern for me is that this isn't happening to Loda. Because that's how it always is.
Oh, bad
I guess S4 is there. So, we have an honorary member of the bug-finding committee in the game.
Are we saying this has to be a Swedish curse? Why is Australia the one having to pay for the Swedish mistakes?
Yeah, poor Ana. This is really...
Yeah, the upside is, though, GRX did do a triple stack of the Ancients to the south. So they have those to turn for. But as you said, like, the Templar Assassin was not going to, like, hands down win the mid lane. But you win by playing the catch-up with Templar Assassin. That's her biggest strength. She's able to play the Ancient game. I think Anna has had enough. He's going to take the bottom.
Oh, top lane is 4.
Yeah, quick hoof stomp, but once again, he hoof stomps the Night Stalker, spin from Eternal Envy, he's going to be unaffected, and S4 will die once more. For the trade-off is GRX flying No-Tail, pressuring the bottom, and now No-Tail, even with these kills coming the way of Eternal Envy, No-Tail is contesting him for the highest net worth position. It's only like 100 or so away from each other.
Yep. We're evening out the tower score here. Both safe lane towers gone, minute 7. That's pretty early. But sometimes rotations just play in favor of this.
Yeah.
And now, honestly, the big story of this game is going to be the next 10 minutes. Like, does Ana get to farm a lot or not? The stacks will need to be contested by Cloud9, and they will need to be continued to made by OG. S4 has a long recovery curve ahead of him. This, I think, is a really hard Centaur game, personally.
Anna actually didn't do his stack.
Nope.
That Dire stack is still there, so GRX is lining up once again to stack it. Alright, I want to see if this adder is just permanently rooted to the ground. No, he's fine. He'll move. Just seems like when he's attacked at the start, he's like, I refuse to leave.
Yeah, now the stack failed, though, because now there's a ward.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're going to start getting paranoid. Like, why is this happening?
Is there an invis hero? Is Night Stalker just sitting on a cliffside nearby that's blocking this? Like, what's going on? S4 might be in trouble once more. Eternal